Okay, let's see. Hopefully that restart helped. That was weird. For some reason, I went live and it said I wasn't live, but it said I had no issues, so I don't know what happened there. Um, and the weird thing was, it told me my chat was disabled, but now my chat is not disabled, so I hope this works. I hope I'm live. If anybody wants to confirm, Jet, if you're there, can you confirm I'm live? Praying to. I had to, like I said, I had to restart this. I hope it works. Okay, now it says I'm live. So let me just do this. You're live. Well, that's a good sign. Okay, cool. Sorry, guys. It I had some weird issues. I went live, and Streamlabs usually has to my right saying, like, showing the chat, right? And for some reason it was disabled, and next thing I know, I go to YouTube and I'm not even live. It just said that, I have an upcoming stream. So I don't know what happened there. If just there was some sort of weird little glitch, maybe. So hopefully now that issue has been cleaned up and we won't have any more problems. Um, Apologies for the delay. Had some technical. I'll talk about Zilch in a moment. Give me 1 second here. But we are now live. Link. And then make sure that's link there. Okay. Posty post. And there we go. Okay. All right. So I'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, today the biggest thing is we're going to look back at Sunday Night Lights 2000 with a live director's commentary before we get to 2001. I'll talk about SNL 2001 and what's coming up in a moment. Obviously, you guys are aware what happened at the end of the Xfinity race. I've had a kind of a long day, but I'm here now. So Connor Zilisch got the win, and in victory lane he fell off his car and took a really nasty bump, and he had to be taken to the infield care center. He was speaking with medical, according to Adam Alexander on the CW broadcast. Excuse me, and he was sitting up in the ambulance. He was taken to a local hospital for further evaluation, but Matthew Blackley posted from Jim Zilisch, I believe that's Connor's dad, that Connor is conscious, back to himself, and in the infield care center, off to the hospital for further evaluation, but he is not in any danger. We'll update more later this evening. Again, that's from Jim Zilisch. So, good news to hear. Praying for the best for Connor. You never know what life can throw at you. You never know what could happen, right? So, my biggest thing is, I know people are asking, what about tomorrow? He's running the Cup race. Not my biggest concern right now. My biggest concern is just making sure the young man's okay. Just turned 19. You don't want that. You don't want that for anybody. This is just a guy who, was just celebrating another win, and just just an amazing, talented young man. Probably one of the biggest prospects that we've had in a while. So, I actually had the privilege to meet him and just interview him for a couple minutes at Daytona earlier this year, and you wouldn't even think he was 18, 19 years old. I mean, he's so mature. Again, you don't want that for anybody. So, sending best prayers for Zilisch. If anything comes up, I might bring it up, or if any of you guys know anything. Yeah, it's just that was a bad fall. I haven't gasped in horror like that in a while. I just, I'm not gonna no speculations, nothing like that. Let's just all we can hope. We got some good news. Let's just hope that we hear nothing but good news at this point, and that he will be okay. So that's the biggest thing. It seems like he's alert and awake. He's back to his normal self, and they're just, precautionary reasons, just giving him further evaluations. Hopefully that's it. So I at least wanted to talk about that real quick. I know Austin Hill apparently hooked somebody again. Beautiful. Anyway, yeah, I just, and talking about Zilic, I kind of want to segue real quick. I want to talk about Indy as well. I haven't had the chance to talk about Indianapolis yet, because he won the Xfinity race, gave JRM their 100th win. Man, 18, 19 years old, you win at the Brickyard, right? Winning at Indy, no matter who you are, is special. And, yeah, I mean, and obviously, I was sitting in turn 1, so I only saw the video board of what Hill did, but I quickly just looked on Twitter and, and saw the replay, and those dreaded white gloves, caught, busted, so even right away, I was like, whoa, what was that? Where did that come from? And looking at the replay a few more times, I was like, yeah, he hooked him. That's not okay. Come on now. Can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. So, But anyway, Indy was fun despite the rain, sweating my butt off. But it's worth it, And good thing for the Cup race was I sat underneath the front stretch bleachers. And, I was able to avoid the rain and avoid cooking to a crisp. By the way, if you hear a voice in the background, that's my roommate playing GTA. I apologize. Anyway, let's see here. What was I going to say? So, I wanted to segue into the winners. Bubba Wallace winning the Brickyard. That's awesome. Happy for him. I feel like I want to kind of dive more into how a lot of recent winners are different drivers from different walks of lives and drivers with different upbringings and how they developed and stuff like that. Bubba brings diversity. I want to give a shout out to Catherine Legge, by the way. Dude, what a drive by her, man. She had to pit, but she was up to second at one point. I was so hoping that Blaney would pit and Catherine could lead a couple laps. I was so hoping. Or at least, if it was going to rain, she'd be leading. So, yeah, what a drive by her. She got, 17th driving for BJ McLeod? That's awesome. I couldn't help but smile ear to ear watching her. She did a phenomenal job. Of course, I have to bring it up, too, with SNL having all the female drivers, and it made me think about when Shauna Robinson won the 1996 Brickyard 400 in Sunday Night Lights, so it made me think about that. And then I want to mention guys like Zilic and Brent Cruz, and even Tristan McKee, which I officially, at the age of 28, feel old. I know 28's like boomer age to the internet at this point, but, what can you do? But I wanted to bring those three up because they are examples of how we have drivers coming in through new places like Trans Am. I'm really fascinated that now we have drivers coming through there. And what's cool about that is, road courses are going to be more relevant in NASCAR's future. And you're seeing that, right? And I think, guys like Zilic, like Cruz and McKee are going to become really good all-round drivers because, yes, they're learning the ovals too, and they're getting good and, running ARCA and late models and stuff like that, trying to get the hang of the ovals. But I'm really impressed. And obviously, got to talk about Shane Van Gisbergen, who, before all this didn't even run on an oval. And I think we're seeing a shift in who our drivers are in the Cup Series, and I think it is building a more diverse field in NASCAR, in the Cup Series. And I think we should celebrate that because that's really cool. You got your you got your traditional late model guys, you got your dirt guys, you got your road course guys, and everything else in between. And for it all to mesh together, you could truly promote it to being, hey, these are the best drivers in the world. They all come from different backgrounds, different sanctions, different disciplines. And, Sunday Night Lights does that too, even if it's a simulation where it happens by chance. It's been doing that too. So, Kaz Grala got 8th. Incredible drive by him. Yeah, certainly. Leg gets too much hate. Yeah, and she's getting better. She's gotten so much better. She did a great job at Chicago, too. Got a top 20. I know she spun at one point, but top 20 for a team like that and someone who's learning, I mean, that's a great job. And people forget she is she's a road racer. She's been doing that stuff for years, for a long time. Let's see. You have never released the last 2 racing Infinity cars. I will look into that. It's just something that I haven't gotten to because I've been trying to get Sunday Night Lights 2001, get the gears cranking on that. Let's see here. Let's see. I hate all the crap Bubba Wallace got for that win. I mean, how I see it is, for me, I want to help continue to grow this sport to anyone and everyone. I actually went to the Red Bull Flute Talk that was here in Cincinnati today, and I was wearing my SVG Red Bull shirt because I just wanted at least people to see the NASCAR shirt. Small things like that, but, I want the sport to thrive, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I had a video go viral, and I was by Victory Lane because me and my friends Michael and John, we went down there because we were all thrilled for Bubba, and and again, burnout of the year, by the way. Holy crap, that was. But that wasn't the video. The video was I was zooming in on him in Victory Lane, and just so in that moment, the guy next to me just yells, "What are they gonna say now, Bubba?" And Bubba turns to us and just shrugs and then does the hush hush with his finger over his mouth. Next thing I know, it was next couple days, it's blowing up, and motorsport.com even reached out to me and said, "Hey, can we repost your video?" So that was cool. So that was a fun moment. And it's like, yeah, what are they gonna say now? Bubba needed a win like that, It's like, you want an Indy, man. If you're a NASCAR driver, that's one of the tracks you want to win at, man. And I know people talk about, like, oh, should Indy be on the Cup schedule? Yes, it should. It's one of the most historic venues in the world. And you want the best drivers in the world racing at the best places. So that's kind of how I see it there. Well, let me see what else here. Have you seen the new Fork in the Road episode yet? I started on the new one. Still need to finish it. I actually met the Fork in the Road folks. I actually met him at Indy, and we hung out for a little bit, so that was cool. Well, I want to see people like Catherine Legge succeed because, I think it's cool that NASCAR can be a co-ed sport. Kind of like what you see in SNL with Shauna and Patty, right? So, stuff like that. I think it's better for the sport, honestly. Let's see. Being picked up by official NASCAR accounts. Oh, is it? I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I was even I think my friends Michael and John were like, that might be a viral clip. I'm like, I can't believe I just got that. That was cool. It was cinema. So, we've had some popular wins. Chase at Atlanta, SVG's wins, especially the Suarez winning in Mexico in the Xfinity Series, Bubba winning the Brickyard, and of course watching Zilich tear it up has been fantastic. So, yeah. So, with that said, before we dive into the director's commentary, again, I apologize that we had a bit of a slow start. So, excuse me. Sunday Night Lights 2001 is now in full production. We just finished up the Stock GT season today. We just wrapped that up. We're nearly done with the few paint schemes for other series that we hadn't done yet, so we're just wrapping all that up. But we are fully underway. We're aiming to get this out in September, barring any additional issues. I'll have a concrete date once the races are done and things are coming together and the video's being put together, because I don't want to give you guys like, oh, the video's going to come out September 15th, and, you know, September 15th comes, I'm not even done with the video yet, right? I don't want to deliver broken promises. You know, so I want to be able to say, okay, I'm in a good spot now. Let me give a date, and then just say like, hey, this is the date we're doing this. I'm really excited about 2001 because I think it's going to be a really big season. You know, and I always want to make each season bigger than the last. You know, that's the goal. I am planning on one more Racing Infinity before 2001. I'm not going to say what it is yet, but I will say one thing. It will be a part 2 to another popular one. So it's a part 2 to another one that was pretty popular. So stay tuned for that. Take your time, man. Quality is most important. Thank you. Thank you so much. And then, yeah, obviously, I want to make the best video that I can. I want to make sure it looks good. Yeah, I've made my handful of mistakes, but I want to make sure I make the best video for you guys. So, yeah, if SVG wins tomorrow, he'll break the record for most wins by a rookie. And regardless of what some people think, I think it's cool to have SVG, a guy like him, in our sport. And I know some people are like, you know, oh, we should have less road courses because he's so good. No, it's, in my opinion, figure out how to beat him, right? You know, I think to myself, like, if you took Montoya and Ambrose, I kind of realized this after Chicago. Montoya and Ambrose walked so SVG could run. And if you take Montoya and Ambrose from like the early 2010s and you put them in the climate we have now with the next gen and all the road courses, I think they're winning more often than they did. For sure. I think they have more wins. Yeah. So that's something I've just thought about, and you know, say what you want about with the playoffs and all that. Still, it's, you know, again, I talked about it, having this diverse group of drivers in the Cup Series more than ever before. And, you know, I think SVG's getting there on the ovals. He's, you know, improving. He's had some bad luck, but, you know, that happens sometimes. And, you know, he seems like he's really enjoying himself and having a good time. So, really like the things that Trackhouse has been doing there. So, let's see, what else is there? Speaking of mistakes, I still can't believe in my script editing I never corrected Angela and Amber being nieces. Well, I mean, I made the mistake in the recent Racing Infinity where I kept saying Sadler's last win was that's Texas race in 04 when it was actually the fall California race. I didn't register with me at the time. I was like, oh, God. Anyway. And I was like, man, how did I miss that? Sometimes I'm hard on myself for that stuff, but the only thing holding Montoya and Ambrose back. And that's the other thing, too. If Montoya and Ambrose were in really, like, the best equipment, yeah, I think they would have won on ovals. I mean, I was at the 2009 Brickyard 400 when I was a kid, seeing Montoya tear it up and had that issue late in the race on pit road, and in a weird way, it kind of came full circle because I went to the 2015 Indy 500 that he won. So it almost felt like redemption in a weird way. So, yeah. By the way, one more thing about Indy. If you get the chance, check out the IMS Museum. They just renovated it. It looks awesome. It is awesome. They have like these 3 floors. Like the bottom floor has a bunch of the NASCAR winners' cars down there. They had Tony Stewart's 2005 car, the car I saw win 20 years ago with my dad. Which I sat there and I was like, my God, that was 20 years ago? Where did time go? Anyway, they had Earnhardt's win in there, Gordon's inaugural win, Labonte's from 2000, I think it was. They had Harvick's from 03, McMurray's from 2010, and stuff like that. Okay. With that being said, I've been yapping long enough. It's been 20 minutes, and we got how long is this video? 2.5 hour long video. So I think I've yapped long enough. Let's and we can discuss more as the video goes on, but let's actually dive right into this. Make sure we have no problemos here. Okay, let's do this.
People thought about the year 2000.
And I just realized
A year that was futuristic by nature at the dawn.
Let me know how the volume is, by the way.
People saw 2000 as the definition of optimism and progress for the future of all mankind. In NASCAR, 2000 was seen as a pinnacle year, defining the sport's growth to a national audience, and retrospectively, it and 2001 defined the sport's greatest what-ifs. As Sunday Night Lights hits the 20th season,
on with
a
our
new
future
timeline,
presentation.
a new book opens itself.
Oh yeah,
The 2000s.
I also want to
2
mention
decades of racing
huge shout out
history
to
have
Rose
been
Jam.
rewritten. Welcome
They made
to the year 2000.
They made the
the
stock
beginning
GT and
of the next
Super Sportsman templates. So as we get into the stock GT and Super Sportsman part,
If 2000 is
we
seen
can
as
we
the
can talk about
future,
the thought process
the 90s
of
were the gateway
using the
to
mods
it.
that we did.
The past decade has
Like,
seen the sport progress
for stock
even
GT,
quicker than real life.
We
Just a
used
few of
the
its historic
MCLM
moments
Euro
include
mod
the evolution
for the
of
new gen
multi-car teams,
stock GT car.
2 female stars, one of whom became
It was like the
champions,
best
new
hybrid
tracks and
between
new
a stock
markets,
car and a sports car, and we really think it worked out
international
well.
event,
So-
unlike any other. Now,
And we also
move
felt
on
like the
to
Cup
what's
98
ahead.
mod was a really good
Brand
fit
new
for Super
decade
Sportsman as
full
well.
of possibilities. Who will rise to the top? Will any new names rise higher than real life? And how will some of the sport's veterans, like Dale Earnhardt, Alan Kawicki, and Bubba Nissen, conclude their careers? It all begins with one season, 2000. Welcome to the next evolution of stock car racing.
I can't believe I've done 20
let's
seasons
begin
of this.
with the 2000 Kodak IMSA Stock GT Series season. Last year, we witnessed Bill Lester becoming a back-to-back champion in the series, driving for SS Motorsports. Lester will be moving to the Busch Series this season, leaving the championship wide open for anyone to pounce. Before we get to silly season, there's a big story for the series as it enters its 5th season, a new generation of car. The stock GT
Yeah,
body
huge
is
shout out to
an
Rose
upgrade
Jam for
to
these
bring the
templates.
bodies closer to road racers and give the series an even stronger identity, with wider fenders and a wing on the back. This new car will be represented using the MCLM Euro Series mod. For this new gen, Pontiac will be using the Firebird, Ford will enter the Mustang, and Chevrolet brings the Corvette to a new kind of stock car racing. Thank you so much to Rose Jam for creating all of the new templates this series will use. Only one schedule change was made for 2000, with a 10th race added to the series. Watkins Glen joins the stock GT schedule, and it serves as the 8th race of the season. Moving into silly season, let's start off with the
Were you rooting
SS
for
Motorsports
Rusty or
entry.
Shauna to win the
Bill
Cup
Lester
title in
moving up to
2000?
full-time Busch Series
I was
racing.
just wanting
They bring
the
in Jeff
best
Davis from
possible-
Chip Ganassi Racing as they pick up
I
new
wanted the
sponsor
best
Ericsson.
possible
As for
result,
Davis's
as in
old
I
ride,
wanted a great
that gets
championship
taken
battle,
up by newcomer
regardless of who
Tony
won.
Abe. He will pilot the number 1 target
Obviously,
Corvette
both
for Chip
create a good
Ganassi.
story. You know,
He
Rusty
will be
winning his
teammates
5th or
with
Shauna
Sean
winning another
Woodside,
title.
who continues to pilot the number 2 car.
Again, they've
Roush
kind of
Racing expands to a second
they've
team,
kind of become a
picking
really
up
fun
last
rivalry
year's
in this
Rookie of the
timeline.
Year,
So
Ryan Hampton,
it was
to
just
drive
more
the
like
number
for me,
60
just
Bugles
I hope
forward.
we get a good battle.
As for Hampton's former ride, Spec Racer Ford Pro driver
Yeah, I think
Amy Rumman
I think these stock
takes over
GT
the
cars
number
really
16
came out
Cheez-It
well.
car for Dyson
And
Racing Team.
again, Rose Jam
Over
did
at
a
Irvin Semo Racing,
fantastic job
Ryan
on these
Semo
cars.
steps away from the 94 ride to help out with the team, as well as No Fear. PJ Jones will take over that ride. Meanwhile, in PJ's old ride at All-American Racers, Tom Hubert takes over the number 98. Team Cheever also has a new driver in their number 52, now being driven by former F1 driver Olivier Beretta, replacing Darren Law. AJ Foyt's part-time number 41 is being fielded For Larry Foyt, sponsored by Harris Casino, Scott Pruitt takes over Team South.
I just hope
number
both have a
42
funny
after John
routine.
Andretti moved up
Yeah,
to
I mean,
the
you
Busch
know,
Series.
I
And
was
lastly, Alfonso Ribeiro
I wanted it
continues
to be a
race
close
part-time
battle. I didn't
for
want
Hollywood
Rusty to
Motorsports.
run away and win by
To
300
kick
points. It
things
was
off
like,
at Daytona,
you want a
Sean
fun,
Woodside
you want a
started
fun
on
battle,
pole.
right?
He
So
would go
that
on
was
to
just
lead
how
the
I saw
early
it. And
portions of the race.
in my opinion,
However,
them
it
at least
became a
battling
fun
out for the
battle
win
between
there.
Mark Simo,
The fact that
Jeff Davis,
Rusty had the
Boris
title
Said,
locked up, but
and
Shauna had
eventually
to
Butch Letzinger,
get in the
who
way
would
one
end up
last time.
leading for a big chunk of the
You know,
race.
that's a good story right
Looked
there.
like he was on his way to his first
The sponsor,
career win,
Boris said,
but
almost
when
won
green
the
flag
2006
pit stops took place
Pepsi
with
400
around
with.
9 laps
Ah,
to go,
yes, I remember that.
caution came
Yeah.
out. That was because Sean Woodside punted into
Doink.
Scott Pruitt coming off pit road, and since Pruitt wrecked onto the actual racing surface, this caused for the caution to come out. After everything shuffled out, Mark Simo had the lead at the restart, and there was no stopping him as he would hold on for the first win of 2000. For Simo, who got his first win in the series last season, he was
You
ready
notice
to
on the
break
bottom
out and
left,
take
this
team
this
to the
video
next level.
2000,
And he would
I
have a
started
dominating
putting the
performance in the next
like
race at
actual
Sebring,
race
opening
names
2000
because
with back-to-back
just to
wins
add a little
and
fun
already
lore to it.
looking to be a favorite for the championship.
You know, I started
Then,
a
in the next
Google
race at
Doc of just
Portland,
like what every
Ryan
race
Hansen,
sponsor
who
would
was
be
looking
and
to make a
stuff,
name for
and
himself at Roush
you know,
Racing, started on
I was
the
like,
pole.
you know what, it would be cool to at
However,
least throw
at
this
the
in
drop
for
of
the
the
sake
green
of
flag,
the
he did
lore.
not
Am
end
I
up
right?
having a
So
good start,
just
giving
wanted to
way
do that.
Team Savco's Scott Pruitt. Pruitt would eventually take off with the lead, and he never looked back, dominating the entire race. To
Also, I
collect his
forgot to
first
mention,
career win in
shout out
the
to
IMSA
Garrett
Stock
Smithley
GT
drive
Series.
with the lizard
We had
on
some
his
drama
car.
late in the race at Lime Rock. As
I don't know
Darren
where this
Brassfield
meme came
was
from, but it's so
dominating for most of
goofy.
the
I
race.
love it.
However, he was
Don't
held
you
up
love
by a
Brain Rot?
handful of lap cars in the closing laps, and this caused Butch Letzinger to erase a.
Oh, how
5-second
ironic is this
deficit.
too? As I
Letzinger
finished up
then
the
caught
2001
and
Stock
passed
GT
Brassfield
season, and
lead
now
with 3 laps to go.
Butch
Brassfield did
Letzinger
everything
apparently
he
did the
could
command
to
for the
back.
Xfinity race today.
Butch
How cool is
Letzinger
that?
held on for what would be his
I was like,
long
hey,
awaited
yo!
first career win. In
That's
the
cool. I
series.
lort stuff like that.
Jeff Davis would then
Irv
go on
Hort.
to have a
I'm pretty
dominating
sure.
performance
Yeah,
at
I'm
the
pretty
Road
sure he
Montreal.
ran some races
Darren Brassfield
back in
dominated to win at Mid-Ohio.
the earlier years
Mark
in
Simo
SNL. I'm
went
pretty
on to
sure
win
he
at
did.
Heartland Park. Jeff Davis would then pick up another
Something
win
I'd
at
probably have to
Watkins
look
Glen.
back on.
Then Mark Simo held
Again,
off
I can't
Ron
believe I've
Fellows
done 20
to
seasons
win
of this.
at
It's
the
crazy.
Phoenix Road Course. This all led us to our season finale at Riverside. And going into the final race, Mark Simo had an 86-point lead over Scott Pruitt. And unless
Excuse
anything
me.
drastic were to happen, Simo was looking good to lock up the championship. And he would do just that.
Does NASCAR
As
still
he would
mandate
cap
the
off
Hans and
another
SNL
dominating
without the?
performance to his fifth
That's,
win of the
um,
season, and that
I'd
would
say so.
secure him the Kodak IMSA Stock GT
The-
Series Championship for 2000.
How I see it
What
is,
a great moment for
one
him
of my rules
and
with
this
Sunday Night
Arvin
Lights
Simo
is
team
I
as
am
the
not
40-year-old
going to
now can
have
call
any fatal
himself
wrecks.
a champion.
Nobody is getting
Now let's take a look at the
unalived.
winners as
you know,
well as the final standings
so-
from the 2000
Yeah,
Kodak
I would just
IMSA
say,
Stock
like,
GT Series season.
You know, NASCAR just
And
happens
once
to
again,
really
what
get
an
on it
impressive
before
season
anything
for
bad
Mark
happened.
Simo. He beat
So,
Scott Pruitt in the standings by 143 points. Good seasons for the likes of Sean Woodside, Darren Brassfield,
Check
and
something
Jeff
here.
Davis. Ron Fellows finishing in 6th. Tony Ave was very impressive in his
There we go.
first year, finishing in 8th. Butch Letzinger,
Wanted to
while
check the
getting
quality
a win
there.
finally, however, finished just barely outside the top 10. And there's the
Um,
look at your
yeah,
top
Butch
20
Letzinger did the command. Yeah.
standings. Now we move on to the 2000 DuPont Super Sportsman Series season. As last season, we witnessed a dominating performance
And yeah,
out of Jay Sauter
I think
for
the
Richard Childress Racing.
Super Sportsman cars really
Sauter
came
will
out
be
great
moving up to the
using
Busch
the
Series.
Cup 98
We will have
mod.
more
Again,
on that
big
later.
shout out to Rose Jam again.
Much like Stock GT, the Super Sportsman Series also has
hoping
new
to
car bodies for
Get
the
the
season.
2001
These
Super
cars are
Sportsman
taking a
season
more compact
going here in the
approach,
next day or
as
two,
Chevrolet
and
will be fielding the
keep you
Cavalier,
guys posted how things are going.
Ford will be fielding the Focus, and Pontiac will be fielding the Sunfire. Once again, thank you to Rose Jam for making these templates.
A female
for
winner in the
Winston
Maverick
Cup
West Series.
98
Oh, that's
model.
awesome.
As for the schedule this season, not many changes were made.
Remember when
as it
Letzinger drove the
remains
23
at
car in
23
2007?
races.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Moving on to silly season, and as
I
we
do remember
previously
that.
mentioned,
That's
Jay
funny.
Sauter will be moving up to the NASCAR Busch Series, and with that, this opens the door for
Yeah, the same
Mike
race that
Dillon,
Montoya won.
Richard
Yeah, that's
Childress'
right. That's right.
son-in-law, to take over the number 31 Realtree Chevrolet. Stanton Barrett was another
Yeah,
driver
Bill
to move up
Davis,
to the
yeah.
Busch Series, which opens up the Nemco 87, which was given to Ron Barfield Jr. after Bill Elliott closed his Super Sportsman team. Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets signed on to drive for Bobby Allison Racing, replacing
No, Bobby.
Buckshot Jones, who also
Sorry, I had to.
moved up to the Busch Series. Hermie Sadler joins Petty Enterprises to try and find a new footing. He replaces Rich Bickle in the 43. As for Bickle, he takes his veteran presence over to Herzog
Oh,
Motorsport.
yeah. I somehow
Brand new
put that
team
on the
that
wrong
will
body
also
for
be
some reason,
competing
but I
in the
know I
NASCAR
fixed
Busch
it
Series.
with the
More on
downloads.
that later. Mario Goslin had to find a new
I just
home
sat there
after
and went,
Diamond Ridge
"Really?"
closed their doors. Now he drives for Base Motorsports in the number 74. Robbie Reiser steps aside from racing and hires Jason Schuler to drive his number 71, now sponsored by Visine. Another new team coming into the picture is PPC Racing, fielding the number 57 car for Kevin Grubb.
Yeah, I
who
think that
moves
Excedrin
over from the
recreate
Super Truck
came out pretty
Series.
good.
A couple young stars are going
Now, this
full-time
paint scheme I
racing
was
this
really
season,
proud of because
which
I
includes
wasn't sure when I
Justin
first
Labonte
did this for
driving for Joe Gibbs
99
Racing
how
in the
good it was
number
going to look,
18.
but I think it came out
Then
pretty good.
there's Ricky Hendrick driving for his father's team in the number 51. In terms of part-timers, Larry Foyt will share the CC Welliver number 66 with Tina Gordon. Henderson Motorsports will
Yeah,
run
feel
some
free to
races
comment
with
what
Kelly
some of y'all's
Denton
favorite paint
and
schemes
Jeff
are, by the
Brooks,
way. Yeah,
splitting the number
it's a
75.
good idea.
Michael Rich will drive for Davis & Waite Motorsports in the number 55, sponsored by the Florida Gators. And lastly, Quest
Gators.
Motor Racing, a team co-owned by Derek Cope, will field the number 73 for his two daughters, Amber Cope and
Nieces.
Angela Cope. We had an interesting start to the first race of the season as we had a wreck on lap 3 after Shane Hall went 3 wide, collecting Rick Baldwin, Michael Rich, and Tina Gordon.
Your university.
After the restart, Ron Barfield was all over the back of
Yeah, I
Ricky
think he
Hendrick,
drove that
getting
car in the
aggressive
Busch Series
early
in real
as he
life, so
went
I
to the
just
quarter
put it on his
panel
Super
to
Sportsman
51,
car.
just about turning Hendrick, but he saved it and settled in behind him.
No. I'm a Louisville
Before
Cardinals
green
fan,
flag
but
pit stops, Shelderdine was slowed up by lap
I remember that one time we
allowing
beat them in the
Barfield
Sugar
and
Bowl.
Gibbs to catch it.
Sorry, I had to.
After
That was
green flag stops,
we had Teddy
top
Bridgewater
five doubled
quarterback.
up as
That
JD
team was so
Gibbs, who
good,
took
man.
the lead
That was-
before
that
pit
was
stops, assumed
Towards the end of
lead.
the BCS era
As he would
too.
cruise to
Might have
his
been like the
second
last
career
or second to
Super
last year.
Sportsman win and his first
I live in
since
Gainesville and I'm a huge Gators fan.
1997.
Oh, nice. Okay, nice. Well, I'm sure
In the
you're
next
excited
race
about
at
the
Rockingham,
upcoming football
Jason
season and
Jarrett
all that.
started on the pole and led for the opening portion with teammate Kirk Shelmerdine
Be interesting to see what
behind him.
the SEC looks like this year.
Shelmerdine would take the lead after
Hope my
a bit,
Cardinals have a good year
lead
too.
until the first caution around lap 43. Shane Hall would make a big mistake running into the pit road wall during green flag stops.
Don't you love
Shane Hall
NRX?
was okay after this crash.
Kyle Petty drove a
Gibbs
Gators
took the lead
car.
shortly after the restart
Did he?
and entered a battle with Kirk Shelmerdine
Now I
and
gotta do
Ricky
some
Hendrick.
research.
After the final round of green flag pit stops, Hendrick had a 4-second lead, but that was decimated before long as JD Gibbs took
Oh,
the
I
lead back
remember
and
that
went
Florida
on to
paint.
the
Okay.
back-to-back
I forgot
races
Kyle Petty
to
drove
open
that
the
car.
season.
Oh.
In the third race of the
He
season
just signed
at
with the
Atlanta,
Buccaneers.
The final run of the race saw Kirk Shelmerdine.
I know he retired and was
Hamilton
coaching.
Jr. looking for his first career win in a championship.
God, you know what?
team.
Happy for the guy.
Hamilton
He was
fought
always
hard
such a
and
great
left it
quarterback
alone,
and just
but
kept
it was
getting hurt.
Shelmerdine
So
holding him off for his first
Wish
win
him-
of
wish
the year.
Bridgewater
and out
nothing
of
but the
nowhere,
best.
JD Gibbs stole second to
Um,
continue his white hot start.
let's see,
after
I'm from the
slowly
Panhandle,
climbing
take classes
on a
online
bad
with UF.
qualifying Run.
I'm about
Has
five.
JD
Oh,
Gibbs
nice.
become
Okay.
a major contender for the championship?
I went to
At
the
Louisiana,
mighty
Rich Bickle started
Northern
on the
Kentucky
pole
University.
and had the dominant
Go
car
North.
early, creating
We don't have a
great
football
run
team,
for the new
but
Herzog
we're good in
92
basketball.
team.
Anyway,
Angie Wilson of Phoenix Racing
Um,
also had a hot start, running second early in the
I'm
race.
glad you don't go to
But she would end
FSU.
up trading back. Ultimately,
Oh,
Bickle had to
man.
battle Hermie Sadler, driving his former ride.
I'm not sure the Louisville plays him this year. I have to check.
Sadler made a dramatic pass coming off pit road
let's see,
to
Arch
take the
Manning.
lead during stops.
Yeah, but you should see how he does.
Then a late
And there's a
caution
lot of hype
punched the
around
field
him,
again,
so-
and this allowed for Sadler, Bickle, Justin Labonte, and Ron Barfield Jr. to run for the win.
I mean, it's been fun watching Kyle Petty in this
Black
timeline.
traffic allowed Bickle
He's
to
had a
catch
great
his former
career,
team,
you know.
but
That
Sadler
1992
made better
championship
use
really
of
set
them.
the precedent for what the
Moved
rest
down
of his
the
career's
series
been
to find
looking
his
like.
footing
So
again, and he's
plenty of
found it
wins.
again quick.
it
Hermie
helped turn
Sadler
Team
would
Sapco
go on
into
to win at Louisiana, his
strong
first
team.
Super Sportsman win, and his first
Also,
overall win since
I
the
wanna say, too, with,
1997 Busch Series season.
obviously I
Bickle
posted
finished
the
second to his
Louisiana
former
Motor
team,
Speedway
but the
update,
second
but
place finish was still
I'm really
great
glad I
day
was
for
able to
Rosado.
finally figure out how to get
Mike
wall
Dillon
logos
had
to
fight
work,
the
and
eventful day at Bristol
you know, it
in
just
what has
feels,
already
it
been
looks a
his
lot
wild
better
start
now.
to
I'm
the
glad I was
season.
able to figure that out in the
Dillon took
sandbox.
the lead from pole sitter Frank Kimmel, and he had a strong car.
Varchman, all
But
right,
it
all right, all
wasn't
right.
easy.
Get it?
The
Yeah.
caution of the race came
Matthew
for Jack
McConaughey.
Fultz making contact with Mike
Hey,
Dillon
the Reds
going
played
the
a
last
game
down
at that
while
track
Dillon was
recently
leading.
and lost.
Dillon had a scraped up right side.
It's not easy being a Reds fan.
Kept the lead
Heck, it's not
and
easy being a
didn't seem to slow
Cincinnati
down.
sports fan.
Lap traffic allowed
Uh.
Chuck Shelmerdine and Bobby Hamilton
Yeah.
to catch Dillon. but
Oh yeah, what'd you
due to
guys think of the
damage,
baseball game
Dillon
in
kept the
Bristol?
pace.
If you guys saw
Mastered
that, what'd
lap
you guys think of that?
traffic. He may have led over
I know there was a
80%
lot of
the race,
issues
but
with
it's hard to
rain and
say
concessions running
who was
out because of it
dominant
and
with
stuff
how
like that,
competitive
but
this race was.
I don't know. It was cool
He
to
was
see
just his
something.
fifth start.
I like goofy
Mike
stuff like
Dillon
that, so that was
gets
cool to
his
see.
First career win at Bristol, and Richard Childress Racing shows
2005.
they haven't lost a
Yeah,
step
yeah, okay, I see now,
since
yeah.
their title
Yeah,
last
see
year.
it in J-Ski here.
The first
Future
career
500
wins
Grand
didn't
Marshal,
stop
Matthew
there,
McConaughey. Yeah.
As Ricky Hendrick would put on a
At least you're
clinic
not the
in
Pirates.
very next race at
Yeah,
Nazareth
even
to
though,
pick up
like,
the win.
We can't beat them at
Then,
their
at the
stadium.
next race at I-70 Speedway,
Anyway.
Mario Gosling blew an engine and caused a
Pain.
strange stack-up that wrecked Rich Bickle and sent Rick
is there a way for
Baldwin
you to create
spinning,
this career
with
wins?
leader Justin Labonte catching a piece of Baldwin's spinning bumper. Labonte continued and even finished top 10, but had to pit to repair the damage.
At least you don't have to be a
That
Cleveland
handed the
sports
lead
fan.
to Ricky Hendrick and Mike Dillon. And Hendrick
I work
paved
with
the way
somebody
to
who's
take home
a big
his
Cleveland
second
sports
victory
fan.
in a row in far
I was
more
very
eventful
worried for him
fashion.
when they drafted Shitter
A couple
Sanders.
races later at Oswego, Jovis Racing was looking to have a big day after Justin.
Oh,
Bonnet
Captain
and
Lake
Gene
puts together a
Gibbs
good
got
run.
By pole sitter Ron
SCG
Barfield
winning would be
for the
cool.
lead. A wreck shortly after halfway for Ashton Lewis and
Is there a way
Bobby
for you to
Gearhart
create a
split
list of
pit
career wins?
strategy.
I know that's
Two new
something
faces
that
came to the front. Hermie Sadler
we've been working
and
on and
Jason
aiming
Jarrett.
to do.
Sadler took the lead from
I
Jarrett.
think at
with
some
20
point
to
it would
go,
be
but
at
Jarrett
some
stayed
point
on him in
to
the
showcase
mix of cutting through
stuff like
traffic.
that at some point.
On the final
So,
lap, Jarrett went low on the backstretch, and he pushed
Yeah,
hard
Kyle
into
Busch
turn
is just
3,
around the corner,
using
yeah.
a lapper as a pick and stole
Wonder what
it
he-
in
wonder
the
what things
final
are gonna look
corner
like for him.
After struggling as a rookie, Jason Jarrett rebounds for his first career win. We had a surprise pole winner.
Not
couple
easy being a
races later
Raiders fan
at South
either.
Boston in
Ah, yes.
Kevin Grubb. Looking for
but yeah,
a
with the
great
career
run
wins
for the
thing,
new PPC
we do
team.
have an internal stat sheet, and we've been looking for a while at a good way to make it public, and we're still just trying to figure that out. So we want to post something like that eventually. We're just still kind of figuring all that out, so we want to find the right way of posting stuff like that. I'll flip it a short track. You'll have to see it.
Battled for the lead for much of the race. Later on, we had another caution that could be big for the championship. Kurt Shelmerdine getting spun by Rich
Will you
Bickle.
ever add Arca?
Fortunately for
Obviously
Shelmerdine,
Arca's still
he
there.
in the end, it was 19-year-old
I don't know, just
Justin
because
Labonte
we already are
getting his
covering
second
6
career
series
win
as it is,
after
so.
a pass for the lead just
But at
after
least,
the
you know,
last
we'll
one started.
mention in passing, like, hey, you
We had a
know,
fun one
this guy
here
was
for
doing this in
Midwest with
Arca or
the 15th
something.
race
You
of the
know.
season at IRP, as Ron Barfield Jr. started on the pole, but lost the early lead to Ricky
Excuse me.
Hendrick. Hendrick and Barfield battled for the lead and went back and forth with Jason Schuler, Justin Labonte, and Billy Venturini all in the mix as well. After pit stops,
And honestly,
Hendrick
like,
made a bold
I wouldn't be
move on the
surprised if,
outside
like,
to take the lead
some guys in, like,
and
Super
ran
Sportsman
away for a
do
while.
some Arca races to
It
2 and
was a
stuff like
fuel
that, depending what they're
mileage
doing,
race,
so.
one that some
Just,
didn't
I feel like
see
stuff
coming,
like that would
and Hendrick had to
have
pit
happened
with
for
some
sure,
others,
so.
handing Billy Venturini a much-needed win after only leading the last 2 laps. That's his first win of the year. Several drivers had their best run of the year as well, including Jason Schuler in 3rd, Frank Kimmel in 6th, and another run for Angela Cope in 12th. While at the same time, drivers like Gibbs, Shelmerdine, and Dillon lost some valuable
Ricky.
point spots. After this race, Ricky Hendrick held just a 47-point lead over Mike Dillon. J.D. Gibbs and others were also in the mix. In the next race in the Derby City, Rich Bickle started on the pole.
Somebody who lived in Louisville as a kid, I never got to see this track.
Instead, it was a side-by-side battle with
that would have been
Shelmerdine in the opening
I don't know. It would have been cool to
laps,
see that track
which by lap
still
4,
exist if the
Shelmerdine
possibility
would
was
pull away
there.
with the lead, and he would never
Just had
look
such a
back.
unique shape and all
For the
that.
second year in a row, Kirk Shelmerdine wins at Louisville.
I actually, back in March, went to
2 races
Louisville for a
later,
day, and
Kirk
I actually
Shelmerdine was
went to the
running
place
away
where it
with the
was.
lead at North Wilkesboro for a while, but during the pit cycle on lap 62, Shelmerdine finally got a challenger.
See, I was thinking about doing my own NASCAR timeline where Mark Martin retired in 2005.
Short-pitted to
Yeah, that could be
perfection
interesting to look
and
into because I
barely
know
got
that was
ahead
his
of
original
the
plan,
32.
and he proceeded to
It
race
quickly
through like
erased
2014.
Shelmerdine tried all he could, but he could never catch back up to the lead as Hamilton cut through lap traffic quickly. In the last 10 laps, we did have a yellow for J.D. McDuffie spinning out, but Hamilton had more than enough lappers to defend the lead.
Now, Bobby.
And with that, Bobby Hamilton Jr. gets his first career win at
Check it
North
out. Bobby
Wilkesboro.
won.
We had quite the prelude to the finale at Nashville, and this was dominated by two
Nashville.
of the young guns, with Ricky Hendrick on pole and Justin Labonte beside. The two had a thrilling fight all race long for the lead, driving several seconds away from the pack and trading the lead back and forth thanks to lap traffic. Labonte pulled away from Hendrick after a great pit stop, but Hendrick clawed
Yeah, Mark
his
was
way
definitely
back, all thanks
definitely a
to
beast.
that good old lap traffic. He could have taken the win with just a bit more time as the 19-year-old Justin Labonte gets his third career win and his second win of the season when it mattered most, and now enters the Daytona Superstretch right in the thick of the title fight. With all of our top 5 in points in the top 10, J.D. Gibbs does have a slight advantage. However, we have a 5-driver battle for the championship heading into the final race. Much like last season, the Superstretch was run with an A and B main, with the top drivers and points locked into the main event. Frank Kimmel immediately went for the lead as we had a wild start that included a 3-wide battle in the top 8. However, Rene Dupuis made a surprising move past Kimmel
It's like
for the
Dumbo
lead.
never won a
Right
race,
as that
never lost a
happened,
party.
Lyndon Amick
That's right.
turned the 11 of Jimmy Foster, setting the 11 around.
Aggressive
that included
goes
Tina
around.
Gordon, Randy Porter, and Steve Christian. Everyone continued going, but Foster went a lap down. After the restart, it took a few laps for Dupuis to clear the lap car of Foster, but after that, she would hold off Mario Goslin and Frank Kimmel to go on and win as Rene Dupuis wins the B main. This one's for all the marbles. The A main, as Jason Jarrett started on the pole with Justin Labonte next to him for the final race of the season, as a champion was set to be crowned in the next 75 laps. Jason Jarrett would lead for 1/3 of the race until his Jarrett Favre teammate Kirk Shelmerdine took the lead and proceeded to run away with it. It was a clean race as Kirk Shelmerdine would take home the win to close out 2000. Jason Jarrett was second, J.D. Gibbs third, Billy Venturini fourth, Hermie Sadler fifth, Justin
Kirk.
Labonte sixth, Ricky Hendrick seventh, and Mike Dillon
Future
in
NASCAR
10th.
Hall of Famer.
At
right?
the end of the day, your 2000 DuPont Super Sportsman champion was J.D. Gibbs. J.D. Gibbs, the son of Coach Joe
It's kind of
Gibbs,
ironic that
with
Joe
a
Gibbs Racing
huge
still wins a
breakout
championship
season. And not
in
only
2000,
that, it definitely
but it
was a
wasn't in
good
the Cup
turn
Series,
in the
nowhere
right
near it.
direction for Joe Gibbs Racing, as they're finding a lot of success suddenly in the lower series. And here are all the winners, as well as the final standings from the 2000 NASCAR DuPont Super Sportsman Series season. And once again, a huge congrats to J.D. Gibbs, as he had a season to remember. Kirk Shelmerdine and Ricky Hendrick have a tiebreaker, as Shelmerdine would break that, having more wins, followed by Justin Labonte and Mike Dillon. There's going to be some drivers that are poised to move up to the Busch Series, and some that are poised to still make a
still
name for
planning on
themselves going into 2001. And now we move on to
We're
the
still
2000
planning on
NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck
the
Series.
next Racing Infinity.
Last
There'll be one
season,
more before we
saw
get to
Tony
2001.
Roper of Roush Racing take home the championship. He returns to the number 99 truck this season and will look to go back-to-back. Taking a look at the schedule, the Super Truck Series now has a new season opener as they will be joining Speed Weeks, kicking things off at the World Center of Racing, Daytona. Texas World moves up to the spring along with the Busch Series and Winston Cup. We also
World
have
of
a
Texas.
brand new dirt race on the schedule that will be at Bristol Motor Speedway. The Super Truck Series will share this occasion with the
Also,
World of Outlaws
kudos if
Sprint
anybody
Car
knows where
Series.
this song came from.
And lastly, the debut of the brand new SoCal Speedrome.
I was
in
going to use
San
this as a
Diego,
placeholder for
as
something
they
else,
will
but I was
share a
like,
weekend with the
slide it
Winston
in,
Cup.
why not?
And now we move
I
on
try to
Surrey
find
season.
music that's
We'll
fitting
start
for the
off with
time
number
for these
75
videos.
Spears
So,
Motorsports truck
you know.
as Jimmy Johnson moves up to the NASCAR Busch
Excuse me.
Series, and the team selects Eric Morris, looking to have a breakout season to
Who would you
replace
say has
Johnson.
been the most
Morris's
impressive or
old ride at
disappointing
Morgan
SNL
Dollar
compared to
Motorsports
reality?
is now being occupied by a
I mean, yeah,
24-year-old
Sabco
from
has
Joplin,
completely
Missouri, in Jamie McMurray. One of the rookies this
been one of
season
the
includes
best teams
Brendan
ever.
Gaughan,
You know,
driving for Bill
a team that
McAnally
never
Racing,
really got to the
and
top
there's
in real
also
life is a
Scott
team that's
Riggs,
now at the very
piloting the
tippy
number
top.
2 truck at Ultra Motorsports.
Rusty,
Ron
I
Hornaday
mean, Rusty
Jr.
was
is
great
also
in
moving
real
up to
life,
the NASCAR
but the
Busch
fact
Series,
that
and with that,
this guy
Taylor
has
Hart
won
represents
everything
a
and
friend
5
of his,
freaking
the pilot at
championships
number
is
16, that being
it's
Michael
crazy.
Waltrip,
So
now
SNL music
sponsored
is always
by
awesome.
Aaron's.
Well, thank you.
Speaking of DEI, their number 3 truck is
But,
once again split between Ronnie Hornaday and
let's see.
Scott Bloomquist. Dennis Setzer
There's a reason why I
moves
say
over to the
Davey
Petty
the Disappointment.
Enterprises number 43
Davey's
truck,
been weird,
sponsored
man,
by
because he won that
Albertsons.
title in
Team
'91, and
Renzi
it's just
opens
been,
the truck team with the number
ugh.
35,
I can't figure it
driven
out.
by
It's
Tony
been so
Raines.
weird.
The Urban Semo
Dale
number
Jarrett's been a
44
big
truck became
disappointment,
open
but
after Brian
him being a
Redford
team
decided
owner
to
now,
try his hand at the
there's a
Busch
lot of
Series.
potential there,
More on
right?
that
So
later, as Stacey Compton
I wouldn't
takes
say
over the
Jeff
truck.
Gordon's been
Over at Impact
disappointing
Motorsports,
per se.
Carlos Contreras
I was hoping
takes
he'd
over
have some more
Compton's
wins
old
at this
number
point.
86
I think
RC
if
Polo
it
truck,
weren't
while Ted
for
Musgrave
Rusty
drives the second truck
mollywopping
for the
everyone,
team
I think
in
he'd
the
have a
number
title.
68.
Yeah.
Mark
He
Gibson
hasn't been
moves over
bad.
Bobby
He's been
Hamilton
good.
races
Just, you
his
know,
truck in the number
I think
4.
it's just,
Kurt Busch,
you know,
fifth
hasn't been as
Dodge
dominant
Ram
as in real
Racing
life. But
in the number
I'm really
29,
curious as
looking to
the
break
current
out the
veterans
season.
get
And
older,
lastly, Joe
how
Gibbs
he's going
Racing
to do
opens
after
a
that.
part-time team
You know,
for
I think Bill
27-year-old
Davis Racing is
Floyd
close to winning a
Gibbs,
title.
And the number 18, sponsored by ConAgra Foods. The
Gordon has
inaugural
won Cup
Craftsman
races,
Super
so it's
Truck
hard to say
Series
he's the
race
most
at Daytona
disappointing.
may have been
Bobby
one
Labonte
for
could
the
be an
ages.
actual option.
Perhaps one with
That's
the
true.
Hollywood
Yeah,
ending.
actually, that's
In
another
the
good
closing
one.
laps, Dodge Ram teammates Cindy Peterson
I want to see Alan the
and Ken
Bachelor win a
Schrader
title in
were
SNL.
running 1-2,
That'd be cool.
with
I
another
think
driver
Alan's had a good
Dominic
career despite
Dobson
not winning the
up there in
title.
the mix too.
He's won everything else. He's
With 2 laps
You know,
to go,
I think he's-
Schrader and Eric
I think I
Norris
checked.
went nearly 3 wide.
I think there's
turns
only
1 and
2
2,
drivers
with Eric Norris having an advantage
in
his
Sunday Night
former
Lights
teammate slash
currently
boss,
who have
the
won
lap
all
truck
4
of
crown
Tim
jewels. The
Richmond.
Daytona 500,
Richmond pushed Norris to the
Coco
lead,
600,
while
Brickyard
Dawson,
400,
Ronnie
Southern
Hornaday,
500,
and Randy Tolsma
and,
all tried to get to Eric Norris.
I think there's only 2
Richmond was
that have won
still
all
holding
4
his
already,
ground well,
and that's
Dobson
Kowicki
got to
and
second,
Robinson.
But it wasn't enough, as Eric Norris, the son of Chuck Norris, brings Spears Motorsports to victory lane.
Yeah,
at
unfortunately,
Daytona
Kenny Irwin
with a
really hasn't
massive
done much,
thank
which has
you
been
to
disappointing.
Tim
But
Richmond.
yeah,
In the next race at Phoenix,
Oh, yeah,
Tim
that
Richmond
horrifying
and Michael
crash,
Waltrip
yeah.
led the field to the green flag, but it was Michael Waltrip getting out to an early lead. Then
Mikey
at lap
had a
11,
solid,
Tony
really
Roper
solid
caught
season
up
in
to the
trucks. He just
16
didn't
to
win.
take the lead, looking to get
All
an early
I gotta
win
say
to
is
start off
sometimes
his
it'd be
title
like
defense.
that.
About 10 laps later, Chris Trickle, who had not won a truck race since Springfield.
He's a
late
race
in
car
the
driver.
1997
His
season,
name is
caught up
Chris
to Roper
Trickle.
and stayed on his tail up until green flag pit stops halfway through the race. Then on lap 48, Chris Trickle caught back up to Tony Roper.
Chuck Norris
rather
is racing in
quickly.
Orchid one.
He would take the lead. After that,
Nice.
Trickle would pick apart one lap truck after another and would finally return to victory lane at Phoenix.
It was fun to see
A
Chris
much
Trickle kind of
needed
come
win
into his
for
own
Chris
too.
Trickle,
Just
as he
finally
needed
breaking
to
out
make
onto the
some noise
scenes.
in 2000. At
A
the
little
next
old,
race
you know,
at
I
Evergreen,
think he's in his late
Tim
20s,
Richmond
but
led
still,
for
I
over
mean,
half
better
the
late than
race
never, right?
until
So,
green flag pit stops around lap
you
72.
should see what happens next for him.
After those stops cycled, Ken Schrader took over the lead with Tony Roper in second. Then on lap 77, we had some drama as Tony Raines got turned by Geoff Bodine with assistance from Randy Talsma. After the restart, Talsma was turned by leader Kurt Busch, who would lose the lead to Geoff Bodine. In an unfortunate sequence of events, Tim Richmond had to pit and shuffled back to 17th, but would
And then
end
there's
up
Bubba
climbing
Nissen,
back
who
up
didn't
to
even have a
second
Wikipedia article
as
before
two-time
us
champ
and
Geoff
never ran a
Bodine
full
took
season in
home
real
the
life.
win.
That's been the crazy one,
The
man.
fifth race of the season at Atlanta was led
But honestly,
by
something
Barry
like that's
Bodine
been really
and
cool,
pole
so.
sitter Chris Trickle.
He's had quite
It
the
looked
career.
like the two would dominate the day. But it became much more competitive late. Greg Biffle took the lead after running down Bodine, looking for a breakthrough win. Not too long after, we had full lines forming like it was a plate race.
Excuse me.
Tim Richmond, Jack Sprague, Stacy Compton, and Scott Lagasse all fought for the lead. In the end, Greg Biffle took the lead
How old
from
is
Jack
Tim
Sprague
Richmond
with 2
in
laps
2000?
to go, but Sprague took it back with
I have a
push
Google
in
Doc
turn
that I keep
one
track of for all
on
the silly
final
season
lap.
stuff. And I do
Stacey
keep track
Compton
of
pushed
ages
him
for drivers.
and went low into turn
I can
3, but
check that real
couldn't
quick
make
for
the
you.
move, and Jack Sprague wins at Atlanta in a thriller. Also of note, Ronnie Hornaday had a great final run to finish 5th. As the 20-year-old third-gen Hornaday gets his second top 5 in his share ride with
So in
Bloomquist.
2000,
Already looking
he
like
was
he could go
45.
full-time in 2001.
He'll be 46 in
maybe be a
2001.
title contender at this rate. Then at Texas World, a big wreck happened early in the race when Geoff Bodine and Jack Sprague got together, collecting Scott
The
Lagasse,
big one.
Kenny Irwin Jr., Joe Ruttman, and Ernie Cope. Texas World put on another fantastic race, as in the closing laps, Roush teammates Greg Biffle and Tony Roper were battling side by side for the lead, switching the lead back and forth. With 3 laps to go, Biffle was blocked by the lap truck of Brendan Gaughan, and at first Roper pulled away. That was until 2 laps to go. From out of nowhere, Scott Bloomquist snuck past Tony Roper to take the lead. The dirt track ace, from conquering the dirt racing scene to conquering one of the baddest and fastest ovals there is, Scott Bloomquist.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to
World.
have Scott
A
Bloomquist
shocking win
win a
as
race
he
like
wins
that.
in the DEI
Obviously, in real life, he
#3
passed
truck.
not too long ago, so it was kind
The
of.
Dodge Ram program
it was
has
pretty
had
cool
a
to see
quiet
that
start
happen.
to the season, but that all changed in the 9th race of the season at Heartland Park, with Cindy Peterson starting on
Topeka.
pole and Schrader in second. Schrader took the lead on the first lap, and he wouldn't look back. It looked like we'd have a Dodge 1-2 battle until Peterson lost some spots during pit stops, and Schrader had to battle Biffle coming off his pit stop, but he pulled back away. After a runner-up in the last race, Ken Schrader takes home the win at Topeka. Also of note, Ronnie Hornaday finishes 4th in another
Ronnie
stellar
Hornaday,
run
yeah,
for
he's
that
been really
number 3
impressive, too.
rotation. Both he and Scott Bloomquist look worthy of upgrades going into next year. The second of 3 new tracks on the schedule, and perhaps the most unique, as the Super Truck Series visit during the World of Outlaws season at Bristol. Chris Trickle started on the pole in this one, looking to rekindle his dirt magic from early in his career, and he would come away with the top 5. But it was another driver who's great on dirt taking the win. That being Tim Richmond, getting his 3rd win of the year at this point, also bringing home a great points day, as his rival and fellow dirt racer Ken Schrader had an issue and finished 2 laps down. It is to note that he also won at Knoxville earlier in the season, and Richmond will go for the dirt sweep at Devil's Bowl in the fall. Then the 14th race at Michigan set
this
us
one.
up for yet another
What series
wild
is the
finish.
most fun for you to do?
So to set things up, the caution came out with 11 laps to go.
Man, that's a good question.
Began green flag pit stops as Dennis
there's
Setzer
something to
went up
enjoy about
into
all of
Mike
them.
Bliss, collecting Jack Sprague and Ronnie Hornaday. The 4-truck pileup gives us a restart.
Yeah, that's tough.
With 6
Obviously,
laps
it's
to go,
the lower
as
series is fun
McMurray
just to see
stays
like
out with
who
a
ends up
slim
becoming the
chance
top
to make it
prospects
on
in this
fuel
timeline,
and collect his
stuff like
first
that.
career win.
Um,
led the field back to the green
Yeah, I think there's
flag,
something to
with
enjoy
Tim
about all of
Richmond
them,
Second,
so.
Cindy Peterson 3rd, Tony Raines 4th, and Michael Waltrip 5th. And it didn't take long for Cindy Peterson to get side by side with McMurray to take the lead.
Michigan is always strange in
McMurray
SNL.
stuck on the outside.
Yeah, but it's kind of been fun.
Held up several leaders.
I thank Michigan in this timeline because it gave us that Patty Moyes win, and it gave her a great career in this timeline.
Coy Gibbs, Tony Raines, Ernie Irvan, and Ted Musgrave. McDonald had a shot at the lead as he battled with Peterson with 3 to go. But Peterson made a power move on the outside to hold on to
Michigan's always been one of my favorite tracks.
This allowed for Coy Gibbs to make a move for second with 2 laps to go.
Yeah, prospect watching and racing is fun because, they end up becoming big stars. Then you look back going like, man, I remember when this guy was 18, 19 years old just making a name for himself, and now look at him kind of thing, right?
And Musgrave. Peterson caught up to McMurray, who had to pit. She goes to the inside of him going into turn 3, but she got held up by the damaged truck of Ronnie Hornaday.
Coming through.
Ernie Irvan had a shot to steal it, but got blocked by Peterson as Coy Gibbs
You just lost
past
Coy
Peterson
Gibbs.
and Irvan to steal
That was crazy,
the
man.
win.
I was like,
Coy Gibbs
wow.
with his first career win at Michigan. And this comes as his brother J.D. Gibbs is tearing up the circuit in Super Sportsman. What a big year this has been for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Randy McDonald not being a backmarker for
The
once.
inaugural Craftsman Super Truck Series race at the SoCal Speedrome definitely gave us a
SoCal was a fun track to put together, too.
As it was a battle at the end of the race between Tim Richmond and Chris Trickle. After green flag pit stops, Chris Trickle was
This was
leading
like the
way
race that set
as
the
he and
precedent
Tim
for the
Richmond
championship
fought through
between
lap
these two.
traffic. They were bumper to bumper with 4 laps to
man,
go. But
Trickle and
coming to
Richmond,
3 to
they were
go,
putting on cinema.
Tim Richmond got past Chris Trickle on the outside for the lead. Richmond tried to pull away, but Chris Trickle came
I can't imagine being
back.
a NASCAR fan in 1992. Who the hell is
Coming
this
to the
random
white
DuPont
flag,
kid?
Trickle went to the outside.
That's
of
always
Richmond
crazy
and
that
took the lead
the
right
season finale
back.
92
Despite fighting
was
the lap
Richard
traffic
Petty's
and
last
losing
and
the
Jeff
lead
Gordon's
lap,
first.
It was Chris
That's crazy,
Trickle winning the inaugural race at SoCal, and perhaps something that could help him towards the championship. We had some championship implications at the 20th race of the season in Memphis as Tim Richmond took the lead from pole sitter Michael Waltrip early. But just before halfway, Richmond had a mechanical issue from the lead. He rode the apron a full lap and nearly started an accident, and while he continued, he was 3 laps down and finished as the last car running. The front of the field saw Chris Trickle and Stacy Compton duel before Scott Lagasse joined the party and took the lead. But then just a few laps later, Compton took it back in traffic and finally puts his ride upgrade to use for the first time in 3 full years. Stacy Compton goes back to victory lane, his first win at Irvin SEMO, and Ken Schrader came away with another top 10. And just like that, as you look at the standings here, Tim Richmond's title lead is gone. The second to last race of the season was a thriller in St. Louis. Scott Lagasse started on pole and battled Chris Trickle, looking for a win that would serve him very well. Lagasse held him off early, but following pit stops, Trickle was much faster and the two battled. Trickle used lap traffic to pull ahead. That was until his teammate Stacy Compton arrived and was battling for the win.
One of my coworkers at work
but the next lap,
I work at a TV station. One of the directors, whenever a mistake happens, like on air, it's like, oh, humiliation.
Stole third from Lagasse, despite a bit of physicality between
if I make a mistake in a video, I should just say that, like, ah, humiliation.
At Gateway, leading a 1-2-3.
By the way, I will be at the Gateway races with my dad next month, so I'm looking forward to that.
Too much ground as Tim Richmond finished in 6th. And Ken Schrader was 9th.
I'm excited, man. Gateway's going to be a playoff track this year. I'm looking forward to it.
Tim Richmond held his points lead, but Chris Trickle was only 86 points back, and Ken Schrader back by 91.
It took me a while to know that Gateway was in St. Louis.
These two were most likely to contend Richmond for the title.
Well, the other thing is, too, the track's on the Illinois side. But it's literally, like, right across the road from downtown, too.
This one's for all the marbles. Tim Richmond looks to earn a title. Chris Trickle looks to have a
it is in Illinois, but
to win
it's
the
right
title in his hometown, And Ken
why
Schrader looks to show he
my dad
has
jokingly was
what
like,
it takes
"Man, why is it
still."
called the Joy Illinois 300?
Hendrick
This is St.
Motorsports
Louis's
walked
race."
up the front row as Scott Legacy
Just being
led
funny,
the
though,
field
but-
to the green flag. Chris Trickle started 9th, Tim Richmond started 13th, and Ken Schrader was 20th. At the drop of the green
I'm
flag,
happy that
Trickle and Richmond
nowadays Gateway has a
immediately
cup
moved their
date.
way up the
That's
field.
awesome.
They quickly showed that they had the best trucks.
It's cool to see the resurrection
Jack
of
Sprague took an early
certain
lead from
tracks that
Legacy,
we've seen, like
but on lap
Nashville,
9,
like
we had an
Gateway,
early caution
Iowa.
as Lance Nork
Looks
ran
like
into
Chicago
Butch
in too
Gillen,
now, so.
sending Gillen spinning into the wall.
Now I'm hoping my home track
Gillen
falls in
would
that
keep
category.
going.
Fingers crossed. Anyway.
The entire field went down pit road for service.
Oh, man.
Then Jack
This-
Sprague led Jeff Bodine,
The Missouri
Chris Trickle,
300 sounds
Tim
lame.
Richmond, and Ronnie
I was kind of
Milroy
hoping like
back
Bush
to the
would
green
get in
flag
on the
lap
sponsorship
15
or
of
Enterprise,
67.
but
And with
oh well.
that, Tim Richmond suddenly had a rocket. Richmond went to the lead just 8 laps later as Chris Trickle worked
Man,
to get
this-
past Jack Sprague for second.
This was crazy.
Eventually,
This
Chris
championship
Trickle
race for
would
the
take
Truck
second.
Series, man.
Then, with 28 laps to go, Richmond, among others, began the first round of green flag pit stops. If the race were to go green the rest of the way, it could be cutting it very close. Chris Trickle would pit 1 lap later. With 20 laps to go, Tim Richmond had a 2.5 second lead over Trickle. But Trickle, along with Legacy and
Excuse me.
Sprague, began to reel in Richmond. Sprague did take second from Trickle at one point, but Trickle would then take it back. With 7 to go, Chris Trickle wanted to at least get the win in his home race. However, when it all looked like
Yeah, that's the
that
other
Tim
thing, too.
Richmond was going to walk away
Chris
with
Trickle
the
did all this in
championship,
his hometown.
drama took place. Coming to 3 laps
Hey,
to go,
Corvette.
Tim Richmond had to pit. Richmond did not have enough fuel to get to the end, and he was the only one of the main leaders to pit. Scott Legacy had gotten around Trickle for what would be the lead, and Tim Richmond was just too short to
Damn you,
keep going.
Bobby Ken.
Scott Legacy would
Oh,
go
I
on to
forgot he
close
owned
out
those.
2000 with another win at Las Vegas, with Chris Trickle in second. Thanks to that, this changed everything. Final lap of the season here at Las Vegas, and everything has changed. Now, as long as he holds his position, Chris Trickle will claim the championship for 2000. What a special moment this is going to be for him. In front of his hometown crowd, in front of his friends and family. He's come a long way. He needed to have a make-or-break season for this year, and he has taken full advantage of it. Up turn 4, checkered flag. Scott Legacy wins, and Chris Trickle is your champion for 2000.
I thought this was pretty cool seeing
In his hometown of
Chris
Las
Trickle
Vegas,
win this championship
Chris
in his
Trickle,
hometown.
The nephew of Dick
And once
Trickle,
again,
takes home
stories
the
just
Craftsman
write itself
Super Truck
sometimes.
Series championship for 2000 in what might just be a pivotal moment in his racing career. Now the question is, what is next for Chris Trickle? And perhaps he may look for a move up in 2001. With that being said, here are all the winners and your final standings from the 2000 Craftsman Super Truck Series season.
How much does
Absolute
Bobby get on you?
heartbreak for Tim Richmond,
Ugh.
as he was just a few laps away from a championship. And instead, because he was short on fuel, he comes up 15 points short. Dodge Ram Racing looked very solid as Schrader finished third and Peterson was fourth. Michael Waltrip impressed in his DEI truck despite not winning a race. Roush Racing also
Apparently
gave
somebody
both
kicked
trucks
a
in the top
70-yard
10.
field goal.
Kurt Busch hopes to build off for
Cam
an even
Little.
better season in 2001.
Holy moly.
Eric Norris, despite winning at Daytona, finishes 14th. As you take a look at the top 30 in standings from this year's NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck Series season. Now
I
we
mean,
move
it
on
was
to
cool,
the
you know,
International
it's cool
Race of
seeing the
Champions,
what if guys,
known as IROC, as
you
Marcus
know,
Stars,
the what if
Frank Kimmel,
guys
and Tim Steele
winning
gave the field a run
like
for their
this
money
in
last
this
season.
timeline.
But in the end, it was Rusty Wallace taking home the glory, winning his third IROC championship and his third in 4 years. To start things off, here are the 12 drivers that will represent IROC 2000. One quick note to make, because Kenny Brack instead chose to pursue NASCAR in this timeline, he does not race in IndyCar, and therefore doesn't win the Indy 500 in 1999. As such, in real-life second-place finisher Jeff Ward wins it instead, and receives the Indy winner's bid to this year's IROC season. The schedule also remains the same as it did last season, with races being at Daytona,
Obviously, it's been fun to do
Colton Park,
IROC
Michigan,
too in this.
and Indianapolis. To start things off, it was a crazy race at Daytona that saw so many changes.
Also,
But with
I enjoy
3 laps
having
to
Calder
go,
Park on
Patty
there
Morris
just
was
because I
leading
still
with
want
Juan Pablo
to do
Montoya
something
in
with it.
second.
You know, even if it's not
Down
doing the
backstretch,
international
Montoya
exhibitions.
got to the inside, and with help from Greg Ray, Montoya took the lead coming to 2 laps to go. But that didn't last long, as Greg Ray took the lead going into turn 1. Tony Stewart was moving his way up and reached second coming to the white flag.
But J.J. Yeley's the
But
2009
Craig
F1 World
Lowndes
Champion.
swallowed up second place before Stewart had a
I
shot
always
to
laugh
win.
at that graphic.
Down the backstretch, Lowndes got to the inside of Greg Ray, and he had
Yeah, I'd like
Kyle
to keep
Petty
Calder
fast
Park around.
approaching.
Just one of those
But
things where,
it was Craig Lowndes with the win.
you know,
at
just trying to figure out
Daytona.
what's next.
As for the next race at Calder Park, there was one driver that put on an absolutely dominant performance, that being our defending Winston Cup champion, Ernie Irvan. He started the race from the pole, and he never looked back, as he went on to win in the land down under.
I was going to say, yeah, J.J. Yeley's
After
the
some late
F1
pit
World
stops in the
Champion.
third race of
Just,
the
that's like the
season in
graphic
Michigan,
that said, like, Kenny
Greg
Wallace
Ray
had, like,
took the lead
300
from
something
Shauna
wins.
Robinson. But Shauna would fight back hard, and with 2 laps to go, she took the lead right back with Jeff Green chasing
I remember
her
that
down.
one video Griff
However,
Dog did.
Jeff Green ran out of time.
Michael Waltrip,
and
1,000
Shauna
wins.
Robinson went on to win at Michigan.
Where's
And
that
heading
picture
into
of the
final race at the
SpongeBob
Brickyard,
characters
we
playing
have a fun
basketball? It's
title
like,
fight.
you know,
Craig
another
Lowndes and
1,000
Ernie
wins
Irvan
to
are
Michael
tied for the
Waltrip.
points lead, with Kyle Petty and Jeff Green right behind them. In the early going of the final race of the season, Jeff Green had a ton of speed and led for the first half of the race. But Ernie Irvan began working his way through the field. And after the first round of green flag pit stops, Irvan took the lead from
Ernie.
Jeff Green, looking to seal the deal on the championship. They stayed close to each other until the very end, but Green wasn't able to get around Irvan. Bill Baird and Tony Stewart, however, were
Yeley finished
1-2
fifth in
after the
2006,
late
and
round of
Bush,
pit
another
stops,
case of getting
and
put
they
in Cup too
managed to
fast.
stretch
Yeah,
it
I think he
unbeaten
was.
as the
I think
ARCA
Yaley was putting
champion.
Cup too fast.
Bill
I think
Baird
another guy that was
went
putting
on
Cup
to
too
win
fast
at
from that
Indianapolis in a
06
stunner.
rookie class was Reed
In the end,
Sorensen.
however,
Because I
it
remember
was defending
Sorensen
Winston
was
Cup
tearing it
champion
up
Ernie
in
Irvan,
Bush, and
taking home
I really
the
think he
IROC
should have
title
spent another
for
year
2000. Ernie Irvan
in
continues
Bush.
this great stretch he's been on since joining
yeah.
MK Racing.
So,
now that
I just-
includes
something
taking
that I
home
think
the
back on.
IROC Championship.
Remember
As
when
you
Dale
take a
Jarrett
look
won the
at your
2001
winners
Daytona 500
and
one
the
more
final
spark?
standings
Oh,
from
yeah, I do remember
IROC
that.
2000. We definitely had a fun set of winners this
Bill?
season as Ernie Irvan takes
No,
home the
Bill?
title, 4 points over Bill Baird and 5 points over Jeff Green. Now we head into the 2000 NASCAR Busch Series season as
Busch.
we are witnessing the next generation of superstars making their names
Head for the mountains
and
of
leaving
Busch.
their marks. In 1999, Tony Stewart went on to capture the championship.
Smoke.
He will be moving up to the Winston Cup full-time this
Reed
season.
Sorensen was
We
so
will
close
talk
to
about
winning.
him
Oh,
later.
yeah.
But for now,
Yeah, Reed
let's start
Sorensen
by
is another.
diving into the
I remember
schedule,
that, yeah.
as we have two major
Again,
additions
Sorensen's
this
another
season.
prime
First, of
example of
course, is
somebody
the
who got
SoCal
rushed to
Speed
Cup
Drum,
too
which
fast.
shares the tripleheader
Because I
weekend.
think if he wasn't rushed to
And
Cup, I
for
think
the
he could have been
first
something
time
special.
Ever, the NASCAR Busch Series is heading overseas. The 11th race of the season will take place at the Twin Ring Motegi in Japan, as NASCAR looks to grow their international footprint going into the 21st century. This race will also be held during a Winston Cup off week, allowing a few of NASCAR
Do you know
stars
Zachary
to make the trip
Leveler?
if they so choose. We have one
I'm
more
assuming
small
he's
announcement
related
make
to,
ahead of the
Jason?
Busch season, that being for something all new added to the series. Introducing the Slick 50 Busch Series Heritage Cup. This is a new bonus event being added to the series, hosted across 4 Winston Cup companion events. Here's how it works. A $250,000 cash bonus will be awarded to the Heritage Cup
Zachary
winner.
Lever.
All drivers, including Winston Cup regulars, are eligible for the prize, which will go to the most points accumulated in the 4 races among race winners. In other words, the Heritage Cup bonus goes to the race winner who earned the most points over the 4 rounds. For its inaugural outing, the Heritage
New
Cup will
series
consist
called
of
The Closest They
Daytona,
Came,
the
a
Spring
series where
Charlotte
he looked
race,
at the days from
Darlington,
drivers won us
and
at
North
NASCAR's
Wilkesboro,
highest
with
level.
the races set to
Campaign
rotate
focus.
each season.
Oh, he's a
This
YouTuber.
promotion provides an
Oh,
incentive
interesting.
for NASCAR
Okay.
stars
I'll have to
compete
check that
with the
channel
rising
out.
stars of the Busch Series and allows up-and-comers to make a statement. An exciting season is upon us, but first, we move on to silly season. Starting things off, Randy LaJoie replaces Jeff Fuller in the 09 at
Oh, wow.
Phoenix
Okay, I
Racing.
see the channel now.
Ron Hornaday Jr. moves up to the NASCAR Busch Series, staying in Dale Earnhardt's program.
Okay, I
and
might
taking
give this
over
guy a
the number
follow.
3,
Nice.
Now sponsored by Napa. Not only that, but Kerry Earnhardt slides into the DEI program, officially taking over the number 14, now sponsored by Bass Pro Shops. PPC Racing also enters the Busch Series this season with a 2-car program. The number 10 Nesquik Chevrolet being driven by Toby Porter, and the number 57 Excedrin Chevrolet being driven by Jason Keller.
When it comes to 04 and all that, that's one of those things where we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Bobby Allison Racing with Castrol GTX now
Yeah, I saw he
sponsoring
just
the
did a
car.
video on Kevin Grubb, too. Oh, whoops. My
In
headphones
the number
disconnected.
92,
Sorry.
Brian Refner moves up to the NASCAR Busch Series.
Sometimes
as
my
he will be
headphones are
joining
very
Team Menard
sensitive.
to
I
drive
can
the number
unplug real
13.
easily. They're
He
kind of
will
worn
also
down.
make a few Winston Cup starts with the team as well. Richard Childress Racing shakes some things up in their Busch Series program as Jay Sauter moves up from the Super Sportsman Series to take over the number 31.
It's crazy that Mike
replacing
Skinner
Mike
had all those
Skinner,
non-points
new
wins,
sponsor,
but
AC Delco.
never could get a points win.
RCR also opens a second car in the number 21, and they bring up Jimmy Johnson from the NASCAR Craftsman Super Truck Series. Brett
Jimmy.
Maloney drives for himself in the number 11 Ralph's Ford. As for Mike Skinner, he stays in the Busch Series, but he moves over to Express Motorsports in the number 16 Pontiac. Joe Gibbs Racing opens up
yeah,
the Busch
Dave
Series
Blaney in
program
the
this season.
2001
with number
Atlanta race,
18
yeah.
being driven by young Casey Atwood. Buckshot Jones joins other drivers
Casey
moving
Atwood.
up from
Somebody
the
called
Super
Chip.
Sportsman Series as he pilots the number 25 with the brand new Team Renzi Motorsports. Two-time Stock GT champion Bill Lester makes the jump up to the Busch Series, driving the number 34 for CC Welliver Racing. Hank Parker Jr. and his family operation also make the leap up to the Busch Series with their number 53 entry. After struggling in the Winston Cup, Jeff Burton takes a step down to the Busch Series and joins Base Motorsports in the number 74. John Andretti joins Bill Lester as drivers to move up from Stock GT.
Jimmy Johnson
as
driving
he
for
replaces
RCR
Tommy
feels so
Kendall
wrong
in
somehow.
the number 82 with new sponsor TrackPhone. Tommy
Oh, the
Kendall
21.
does move up
Yeah,
to
I want
Winston
to.
Cup.
For
Kenny
some
Brack
reason, it
and
was like
Ricky
that
Hendrick will
when
be
I
splitting
brought in the
time
car
in
set, 'cause
Hendrick Motorsports number 51.
I just wanted to
That
check
car
it out,
will
edit
run
it, and put
part-time.
the
Stanton Barrett will run
put the name on
full-time
it
in the
just
Busch
so,
Series in
you
the
know,
number
for
87
presentation
for Johnny
purposes.
Nemechek's team.
And I noticed,
Tim
I was
Furyk
like,
takes over the
this
93,
isn't aligned.
formerly the 23,
So I,
as Paige Jones
unfortunately, there
also
wasn't a
got to
lot I
move
could
up to
do
the
there,
Winston
so
Cup
I
as
do
well.
apologize for that.
Lastly, Dale Earnhardt Jr. will run most of the Busch Series season to get more experience.
Dave
DEI
Blaney,
will
he
also
was
enter a second
third in
part-time
that
car,
Darlington race,
number
the
15,
infamous
which will be
Craven
primarily
Busch
driven by
battle.
Kelly Earnhardt. In addition, Japanese native Hideo Fukuyama will drive this car at Motegi, and then comes stateside for a road course race at Riverside. Scott Bloomquist will also run this car as a one-off in the finale at Atlanta. And Team Sabco continues to operate the number 45 with multiple drivers, as the number
Were there any
also
other
gets
teams
a
you
font
considered
change.
having Jimmy
Of
sign
course,
with?
being teammates to Adam Petty.
Yeah, we were
who will
throwing
be
around
one to
some
watch
ideas,
this
and we
season.
felt like that
Adam Petty started
way
on
we
the
looked at
pole
everything,
with
it
Kenny
just
Brack
made,
starting second as we kicked off the 2000 season
you know,
at
for
Daytona.
the time being, it just made sense for him to drive the 21 for RCR.
The lead was shared among many different drivers.
Oop, editing
as
mistake right
expected
there.
For a race at the 2.5-mile circuit. Some of the front runners included the likes of Petty, Brack, Jimmy Johnson, Kerry Earnhardt, and Clifford Allison. At the halfway point, we had one scuffle in the race
Jeez, another
where
one
we
right
were
there.
4 wide towards the back as Casey Atwood didn't clear Bobby Labonte, sending Atwood up the track and into
It's
Kenny
crazy
Brack,
that
who was
Dave
an
Blaney had
unfortunate victim.
quite a few instances where
Atwood and Brack
he nearly
kept
won a
going
race.
damage, and it wasn't
You know,
enough
I
to
think
bring out
the
a
spring
caution.
Talladega race in
Both would get
2011,
lapped at one point in
the
race.
2012 Daytona
In the
500,
end,
obviously.
No one ended
If
up
that
hitting
race didn't
late.
get back going.
We had an exciting run to the finish. With 2
So,
laps to go, Jay
it's just
Sauter
crazy
led
looking
the
back
way
on all
with
that.
Brett Bodine, Johnny Benson, Blaze Alexander,
But I know he's having
and
fun
Mark
watching his
Martin
son kick
in
ass now,
contention
so.
to win. Despite Alexander just being held up by the lap car of Kenny Brack, he soared right back with help from Mark Martin. Going into turn 3, he got around Brett Bodine for second, then coming to the white flag.
Oh yeah, Harvick's
Blaze
first win. Yeah, that
Alexander
was
got to the
definitely
inside of Jay
a
Sauter.
pretty special
He was
moment.
able to take the lead. Stanton Barrett got to second, but then was challenged by Benson for that position, and thanks to that, it was Blaze Alexander blazing his own path to glory as he picks up the win at Daytona. The Richard Childress Racing rookie Jimmy Johnson started on pole in the next race at Rockingham, but he didn't have a great start. And because of that,
Jimmy?
bushwhacker Patty Moyes in the 45 took the lead. Moyes dominated the first 2/3 of the race, but a caution from Mike McLaughlin wrecking changed
I've been listening to a lot of this
strategies late in the race.
podcast with Marty Smith.
Moyes fell to
They're really
third
fun to
before
listen
the
to.
restart,
Definitely give it a
with Kelly
recommend.
Williams in the lead and Jimmy Johnson second. And after a bad initial start, Jimmy Johnson
I'm
took
Jimmy Johnson.
advantage,
Boom.
nailing
Confetti.
the restart to take the lead. Williams closed in with 5 laps to go after she got around lap traffic, but even in a completely clear duel, she never got a run. It's a first career win alert, and a notable one at that, as El Cajon, California's Jimmy Johnson
Jimmy.
wins in just his second race at Richard Childress Racing. He may have started on pole, but he certainly had to work for this one. Perhaps a bright future for young Jimmy Johnson. It was an eventful one in the Sin City for the third race of the season, as we had an early bushwhacker battle between pole sitter Jeff Gordon and Patty Moyes, when suddenly the two made contact and things suddenly went south for Jeff Gordon. He had a tire going down as he had to slow down and get to the apron quick, creating a huge mess that luckily did not cause a major wreck.
not Jeff
The race
Gordon.
would stay green and Gordon pitted. Both Richard Childress cars DNF'd, with last week's winner Jimmy Johnson falling out with a camshaft issue.
I guess
Then
his
Jay
car
Sauter
went
getting
boom,
caught up in the
confetti.
wreck. In the end, it was a bushwhacker battle up front, with Patty Moyes running well again, plus 2 Cup rookies doing double duty, in Dale Jr. and Kenny Brack. Ultimately, the Swede, Kenny Brack, got a run and pulled away late for the win, after being last year's most improved driver and earning a promotion. Could this be a good sign for his Cup debut season? You'll just have to find out in a little bit. The 6th race at Louisiana was an exciting one, as Adam Petty started on pole and led early, with a wild start behind involving Kelly
Who's
Williams,
this El
Patty
Cajon
Moyes,
dude?
Ron Hornaday, and John Andretti nearly
It's
going
kind of
4
crazy
wide.
that one of the
Ron Hornaday
first
pulled ahead
viral
to
moments he
second
had was that
as
crazy
he
Watkins
and
Glen
Adam
crash
Petty
in real
had
life.
the 2 best cars
Getting out of
early.
his car, pumping his
Hornaday
fist in the air.
alternately made a pass during the pit cycle and became the one to beat. We had a late yellow for a big wreck involving Ricky Johnson, Hut Strickland, David Bonnet, and Stanton Barrett, setting up a 15-lap shootout, where Ron Hornaday had to hold off youngsters Jason Leveler in just his 6th start and Kelly Williams. Leveler nearly made an outside pass, but just couldn't make it stick. And then the 3-car pulled away as Ron Hornaday Jr. picked up his first career Busch Series win at Louisiana Motor Speedway. Another short track that provided a fun, exciting race was 2 races later at Bristol, as Kenny Brack started on pole and led early, but more notably was Kevin Harvick running second for much of the early going. Now the start wasn't wild, as Brack got out to as much as a 9-second
I do remember
lead.
Kamikaze
That lead
Games
was cut down
doing
after
a
Brian
video on
Reffner was
that.
involved in the wreck. That's when things went crazy. The rookie, Jason Leveler, in just his 8th Busch start, took the lead shortly after the restart as lap traffic cycled behind. We were set up for a chaotic race to the finish. Leveler was passed by Bryce Alexander, who battled with his friend Jimmie Johnson. In a chaotic battle of tires and lap
That's the other fun thing I'm looking forward to. I hope Alexander and Johnson have a lot of fun battles for the win in the coming seasons. Because I know those two were really good friends before Blaze unfortunately passed in real life.
With a great inside run with 8 to go.
The car that's on display, the Jimmie Johnson car that's on display at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, actually has a sticker that says Blaze on it.
Following a major pileup with 2 laps to go, and taking the white and yellow together, Kenny Brack got his second win of the year for the part-time Hendrick car in a cinematic end to this one. For a driver with an open-wheel background, Kenny Brack certainly has gotten good at the short tracks.
Oh, Driven to the Edge? Yeah, I've seen that one.
The NASCAR Busch Series is racing in Japan. A few Japanese drivers also made an appearance, including Hideo Fukuyama, driving the number 15 for DEI. The other Japanese drivers in the field include Motohiro Nakajima, driving the number 91 for Emerald Performance Group, and Keiichi Tsuchiya, driving the number 5 for Jimmy Spencer. Jeff Gordon led the field to the green flag, along with teammate Tim Futua, as he would go on to lead for the first half of the race. Then during green flag pit stops, Jeff Gordon was the first to pit.
Yeah,
but then he came back.
Yeah, Penske's definitely become quite the super team as well on Sunday Night Lights.
This would eventually
Them
hand
and
the lead over
Sapko
to
to me
Adam
are the
Petty,
top 2.
And in second was Hideo Fukuyama. Fukuyama started in 37th and worked his way to 11th before pit stops. Now he was second. And while he was cutting down from a 5-second deficit, Ron Hornaday Jr. overtook him for second late as Adam Petty picks up a monumental win in Japan. Early on in the season, Blaze Alexander held a 92-point lead over Kelly Williams. And
Connor Zilic just made a tweet.
In the next couple of races,
he said, "Thank you everybody for reaching out today. I'm out of the hospital and getting better already. Thankfully, CT scans for my head are clear. I just have a broken collarbone. Thankful for all the medics for quick attention and grateful it wasn't any worse."
After that at Mid-Ohio, it was a battle between 2 drivers looking for their
that was
first win.
Zilic about
John
10 minutes
Andretti
ago.
And Scott Pruitt. While Andretti won the pole, it was Pruitt taking off and getting an advantage on the start.
So yeah, he's been released from the hospital.
After that, the field had nothing to answer for Pruitt's domination as Scott Pruitt, gifted road racer, goes on to get his first career Busch Series win. At the 14th race of the season at the Milwaukee Mile, we witnessed the Busch Series
Rusty
debut
probably doing a
of
Morgan
Ricky
Shepherd racing
Hendrick,
until
and it
2030.
peaked in qualifying with a stunning second-place start to Kerry Earnhardt, though he was a non-factor in the race itself. A wreck happened on the very first lap involving Bill Lester, Hutch Strickland, and Mike Wallace after a failed save on the backstretch, and this caused the field to split to different strategies. Adam Petty, Ron Hornaday Jr., and Blaze Alexander found themselves to be the 3 best cars all day. But in a massive turn of events, Adam Petty wrecked coming off pit road amidst his battle with Alexander. He took the entrance too wide like he was unsure and hit the entrance.
Yeah, quick update there
what
with...
could have been a winning day. Adam Petty was okay after the crash, and after stop cycle,
just grateful that it wasn't anything worse. Glad his CT scans were clear, so hopefully, good thing Xfinity Series is off next week, so hopefully he can get some rest and come back fighting for the title. So, obviously wishing him to get well soon and hope all is good for him.
Andretti went wire to wire with Kenny Brack, and despite Brack's best efforts, he would eventually fall to third after being passed by Adam Petty late, as John Andretti would collect his first career Busch Series win. Kelly Williams and Jeff Gordon led the field to the green flag for the inaugural Busch Series race at the SoCal Speedrome. Williams led the way early on until the first round of green flag pit stops as Williams and Gordon made contact coming off pit road. They kept going as Gordon took the lead. However, he would eventually be run down by Patty Moyes, who was hanging out with Gordon and Williams throughout the race. Moyes took the lead thanks to lap traffic holding Jeff Gordon back, and she would cruise away with the win in San Diego.
So yeah, just wanted to bring that up real quick.
In the 18th race of the season at Myrtle Beach, Ron Hornaday Jr. started on the pole and was dominant early. But we need to
Sorry,
talk
I was
about
silent
the
there. I
late
was just
stage
reading
of
up
this
on
one.
the
Hornaday
Silich
was ran down
situation
by
there.
Tim Fudua, and in just his second Busch Series start, Ricky Hendrick. Hendrick was running top 5 all day and had something to prove after his falling back at Milwaukee. Ricky used lap traffic to take the lead before a late pit cycle, but things got more interesting when Tim Fudua was spun from second place.
Spin.
After the cycle, only one car stayed out. Toby Porter in the PPC Racing number 10, looking for a win at a track he's raced at for years. We restarted with 5 laps to go.
I hate to say it, but Sapko could be in trouble in a few years. Aging lineup and Adam is from the prospect. That said, in Felix we trust. In Felix Sabates we trust. I mean,
Super Winners,
regardless, I feel like that's a team that could grab up a driver with a lot of potential if they need to. So I'm not too worried about them right now.
Turn 3, and in just his second
It's great speed of Whistler, NASCAR, and San Diego is happening in 2020.
Steals the win.
Yeah, I thought about that, which is kind of funny, you know.
What an
I'm looking
upset.
forward to that next year.
I'm sure there are talks now of him moving up full time next season.
Yeah, this was wild. Ricky
In the
Hendrick winning that
20th
Busch
race
race.
at IRP, we had a very rare caution-free short track race.
Hey, I was there
but
recently
it was still
too.
a fun one. Tim
For the
Fudua
ARCA
started
truck
on the
races.
pole and led for much of the race, but couldn't get away from the 2 Richard Childress rookies, that being Jimmy Johnson, who was going for his second win, and Jay Sauter going for his first. With 25 to go, lap traffic finally got the better of Fudua, and Sauter made his way to the lead. Jimmy Johnson battled Fudua through the final segment, and while Fudua broke up an RCR 1-2, Jay Sauter went on to get his first Busch Series win, and does so on a track much like the ones he dominated in Super Sportsman. 2 races later at Michigan, Jay Sauter started on pole, but it wasn't going to be easy for him as he was challenged by Kerry Earnhardt immediately for the lead. Kelly Williams and Tim Fudua were also in contention and ran up front. Sauter took the lead around lap 20 when the first round of green flag
Good
pit
old
stops
Michigan.
took place. Then the caution came out when there was a wreck between Kerry Earnhardt and Casey Atwood on pit road. There was also an incident where Jimmy Johnson got into John Andretti coming off pit road.
He didn't mean it.
Sending Andretti up the track, causing Toby Porter and Clifford Allison to
And
run
in our
into him.
2003 moment.
In the end, Jason Leveler was fast, looking for his first career win.
Sorry.
But with
Sometimes
2
gotta
laps
poke
to
fun
go,
at it, right?
Here came Tim Fudua. Fudua took the lead and would go on to win for his second win of the season. Even though Blaze Alexander was dominating all day long at North Wilkesboro, Shauna Robinson would eventually chase him down and take the lead. As
Yeah, Jared
Robinson
didn't work
took
out,
home
and
the
then
win. Tim
Terry
Fudua
Labonte,
began to
unfortunately,
insert
really
himself into
hasn't
the championship
done
scene
much.
as he and Williams were within 100 points. But as you can see, Blaze Alexander continues to hold his own with a 160-point lead. Blaze did have something else to celebrate, though, as this race wrapped up the inaugural Busch Series Heritage Cup. With Sapko's number 45 car being a rotation, the battle came down to Blaze Alexander and Mark Martin, to which the youngster narrowly beat the former Cup champion by just 6 points. Daytona winner Blaze Alexander brought home the inaugural Heritage Cup bonus and is closing in on the main championship to boot. In the next race at Memphis,
Yeah, shout out
Jay
to
Sauter
Rose
started
Jim
on
for
pole,
painting Blaze
was
Alexander's
dominant
car.
for about half of the race. But that was until Tim Fudua got past him as he looks to continue to chase the championship. Fudua hangs on as he fights off lap traffic to go on and win in Memphis. At the fall race in Charlotte, Adam Petty started on the pole and led for a few laps, but then dropped back once Jeff Gordon took the lead on lap 7. Later on, Kelly
Bushwhackers
Earnhardt
and
would
SNL.
take the lead after the first round of green flag pit stops.
I mean, what can you do? Is
It looked like she
pretty
was
common
on her
back
way
then.
to a dominating win until with 29 to go. She came down for her final scheduled stop. Then she came off pit road and would run right into Kevin LePage, slamming the wall in turn 3 and causing damage that ended her day. Jeff Gordon would take control and go on to win. Then, in the last handful of races, Dale Earnhardt Jr. won at Talladega. Jerry Nadeau beat Tony Stewart late in the going at Gateway. Patty Moyes would win at Riverside with Hideo Fukuyama finishing in 5th. Kelly Williams passed Jimmy Johnson late at Phoenix to pick up the win there.
Oh yeah, that was a fun battle there.
Then
That
in the
Phoenix
second
race.
to last race at Homestead, Kelly Williams was leading and was in position to win. Until 2 laps to go, however, when Blaze Alexander chased her down and got into an exciting side-by-side battle with her. Then on the final lap, coming off turn 2, Blaze Alexander was able to clear Williams and take the win and most likely lock up the championship. Blaze Alexander entered the season finale with a 201-point lead, and at that point, he had nothing to worry about. As Dale Earnhardt Jr. would close out the 2000 season with his 3rd win of the season, Blaze Alexander would capture the NASCAR Busch Series Championship for 2000 and in dominating fashion. What a huge season for Blaze Alexander, and I'm
Yeah, I
sure
can't really
there's
say
a
what
good
the whole
chance he
Bushwhacker
could be
thing
moving
will
up
look
to the
like
big
right now,
time
but
next season.
you know, that's just kind of how things
And
were
here
back then.
is a look at all the winners and the final standings from the 2000 Busch Series season. Certainly a dominating season for one Blaze Alexander, and certainly the season he needed to prove himself that he is ready for the
Yeah, I had to keep
NASCAR
reminding myself
Winston
that this
Cup.
was the time period
There's a
now
look at
where
your standings.
Charlotte
You see a
Motor Speedway was now
201-point
referred to
win
as
over
Lowe's
Kelly
Motor
Williams.
Speedway.
A lot of stars definitely shined this season, and there's still a lot of stars that are trying to make a name for themselves, and they're going to try to do so again in 2001. And now it is time for the 2000 NASCAR Winston Cup Series season. Last
Time for
season
the
we
Cup
saw
Series.
the meteoric rise of Ernie Irvan as he captured the Winston Cup Championship. Irvin had an amazing turnaround in his career since joining AK Racing. Now, at age 40, he looks to defend and perhaps even collect another championship. Looking at the schedule for 2000, as mentioned earlier, SoCal Speedrome will make its debut, sharing with the Busch Series and Super Truck Series. However, SoCal isn't the only new venue joining the circuit. Also joining the Winston Cup slate is Chicago Motor Speedway. The Cicero, Illinois venue will also have a summer
Yeah, that was a
race,
weird time
adding
period.
2 new
Late
exciting
2000s,
markets
early
to the calendar.
2010s when we had
As a result of NASCAR's
Kevin
changing
Conway,
strategy,
Andy
they
Lally,
elect
Stephen
to work
Light
with
winning
Chicago
Rookie of the Year.
Motor Speedway instead of building Chicago Land Speedway in Joliet. The Winston Cup Series hosts 36 points-paying events this season, which NASCAR says will remain the cap for the foreseeable future. As for the All-Star Race, it will be celebrating the sport's history at a time where it rides to the future. Darlington closes out
Sorry, I
its
was standing up
50th
and stretching
anniversary
there.
celebration.
Oh, the
by
Charger stadium in the
hosting
background?
2000
Yeah.
Winston,
That was a
with
nice
its
touch to
spring
add.
points
I think it
race
came out pretty
transferred
good.
to SoCal for the season. And lastly, the International Exhibition will move to a new country in 2000 following 2 successful years at Twin Ring Motegi. This year, the event instead heads to South America. NASCAR will be racing at the Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil.
Mark
This
Ward
black
wants to kill
trapezoid
me.
oval track was
Right.
used by
Uh.
Carl in real life and will now play host to the top Winston Cup drivers and some invitees from other series in November. As expected,
Oh, yeah,
following
Kelly
last
Williams
season,
has been a lot
the
of fun to watch.
2000 Winston Cup Rookie of the Year
So,
battle
it'll be interesting to
was
see what she
the
does
greatest
next.
in NASCAR history, with 7 rookies, many of whom are in rides that could go for race wins. But before that, let's talk about the biggest story that doesn't have to do with the rookies, that being Mark Martin. After nearly 3 decades in the sport, Budmore Engineering decided to cease operations and sell their equipment. While Martin did bring the team more success in the 90s, Moore decided to take a step back.
I think Kevin Conway
leaving
was on an
Martin the
episode of
hunt for a
Shark
new
Tank,
ride.
funny enough.
Where does he end up? Well, after over a decade, it's a reunion. Mark Martin returns to Roush Racing for 2000, this time taking over the number 16 Ford. Mars continues to sponsor the ride while transitioning their primary brand from Twix to M&M's. Tim Steele will remain in Roush's number 6 Valvoline Ford. And as for the 16's previous driver, Tammy Jo Kirk, she was let go by Roush following her lack of performance at the Cup level. She finds her footing with a team new to the Winston Cup, Galaxy Motorsports. Tammy Jo Kirk moves into the new number 75 Ford as the team moves up and switches manufacturers. Red Cell Batteries will be her primary sponsor, with Pizza Hut also sponsoring the team at some races. The next big move to occur involves
Kevin Conway appeared
in
Shark Tank in 2021 as a business partner for the company Fuzi, which made specialized smartphone cases.
Agreed to part ways. That number 25 car will be driven by our first contender for Rookie of the Year, the Swede Kenny Bragg.
So I always thought that was kind of crazy.
Busch Series tenure that included a breakout for Hendrick, he and MasterCard move up to the Winston Cup level. Ricky Rudd,
I think Tim Steele's holding his own
for a greater opportunity.
I think he's holding his own.
In 2001. Over the offseason, Rudd signed on to become a leading driver for the return of Dodge.
We felt like that it was time for Rudd to move on from Hendrick.
We'll talk about more of the details
Hendrick
later,
to do some rebuilding.
Rudd will be signing a one-year deal with another team before moving
because of that,
to
it just made sense for him to join
Dodge
this new team and
in
help get them off the
2001.
ground. And Rudd's the kind of guy to help out with that.
Sponsor Gatorade will spend this season with a brand new single car team, Celebrity Motorsports. This was a team that, in real life, never came to be. A team to be owned by former NFL players Jim Brown and Willie Lanier. The new team will use number 63, Lanier's former NFL number, and will field Pontiacs for 2000. While Rudd will only be with the team for 1 year, this team looks to build a presence in the sport for years to come, and could become part of the Dodge program as well if they exceed expectations. Moving on to the rest of the rookie class, multiple of our rookies will be part of the new entries. To begin, Matt Kenseth goes full-time in the number 12 DuPont Ford, a third full-time car for Penske. Paige Jones, meanwhile, moves into a second Bill Davis Racing car, the number 93, sponsored by Circuit City, with Sega's co-partnership returning for some races. Over at Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, they also open a second car for the Busch Series champion, Tony Stewart. The new number 15 Pennzoil Chevrolet goes full-time, and hot off his fresh Busch Series title, the Indiana native now has his eyes set on Rookie of the Year. Now, what about Dale Earnhardt Jr.? As mentioned earlier, he moved up to the Winston Cup.
Would have been the hardest
running
decisions.
much of the Busch schedule.
Honestly, right here was one of them, because
the Earnhardt team was in a challenging situation.
This was an interesting situation because we had Tony Stewart doing good coming up. Dale Jr. was winning a lot, so it was just like, well, we can't have them go DEI go from 1 to 3 cars. So this is why we did something like this.
AJ Foyt Enterprises. Here's the deal: Dale Earnhardt Jr. will drive full time for Foyt in 2000. Driving the number 8 Nabisco Oreo Pontiac.
The Jeff
Dale
Gordon
Jr.
one was a tough one to come up with too, because of the situation that was when he was doing well in Busch.
Pending any setbacks. Dale Sr. said, quote, "Aligning my family and team with another of the greatest names in American racing is going to help both of us find our footing. We can learn from each other. And as my team grows and the whole Foyt camp enters the sport, we wanted to surprise people while still giving DEI the chance to grow, both now and another year from now." Moving on to our last couple of rookies, Tommy Kendall and Sony move up to Jarrett Favre's number 32 car following his success in the Busch Series. Former driver and co-owner Dale Jarrett, who struggled to find his footing in the Winston Cup, steps away from full-time racing now, but he will be entering the Daytona 500 and a few other events in a second JFM car, while transitioning to a pure ownership role with this fast-growing team. And lastly is the biggest wild card of the class. As mentioned before, Jeff Burton left Andy Petree's team and returned to the Busch Series. The number 33 Cartoon Network car has a new full-time
Are
driver
there any other
competing for
teams
Rookie of the
that,
Year.
besides Ford, do you
That
consider
being
Dale Jr.
Al
going to?
Unser Jr.
Um,
In real life, Unser
I'm
seriously
trying to remember
considered racing
if
in
we
NASCAR
did or
for
not.
a few years following his retirement from open-wheel racing.
I'm pretty sure
But
we
the
did.
opportunity never
just
came to be.
just
You may
not coming
remember
across
he
me
raced
right now.
part-time last year, and as NASCAR continues to evolve, the 38-year-old is out to exceed expectations, much like his fellow open-wheeler Kenny Brack has done. As for some notable part-timers, Ron Fellows will make a few road course starts in the number 47 for Team Sapco, and the car will host the first ever Cup starts for young Adam Petty. The second Jarrett Favre car mentioned earlier that's going to be driven by Dale Jarrett will also be driven by Kelly Williams. Both drivers will be sponsored by Home
We have to
Depot.
ask Jed on that
Blaze
if
Alexander will
we had
also
any
make
other
a few
teams we
Winston Cup
considered
starts
for
in a
Junior
Ford
to
Penske car,
run out for
the
2000.
number 02 Mobil 1 Ford. Eddie Bierschwell moves over to Cal Wells' new team, the
I think-
number 96 Viagra Ford.
I think Kelly had
PTI
some improvement
Motorsports.
in 2000.
And teams such
She
as
had
Midwest
instances where
Racing,
she came
Joe
close to
Bessie
winning and it
Racing,
just
and the Wood
didn't
Brothers
happen.
scaled
So,
down to part-time. Team Menard will be attempting some
I mean,
Winston
you know,
Cup
you
races,
hope that-
as mentioned earlier.
I'm hoping that,
Brian
you know,
Refner making
she'll get
some
back to
starts,
victory lane here
and
soon.
USAC star Ryan Newman will also make his NASCAR debut for this team, running 2 races late in the season.
Of course, Viagra
And
sponsors
lastly,
the team with.
2000
I'm gonna
marked
be
the
honest,
final season
didn't
for
think about that
1982
when we
champion
did that.
Darrell Waltrip.
We didn't even.
At age
We didn't really think
53,
about that much.
DW will step away from the racing scene and go into a career in broadcasting starting in 2001. Congratulations to Darrell Waltrip on an amazing and legendary career. And now let's jump into Speed Weeks 2000. We start off Speed Weeks with the 2000 Bud Shootout as Kyle Petty started on the pole and Davey Allison started next to him in second. It was a fun race that consisted of several different leaders and lead changes in a 20-lap race. Rob Moroso was able to hold on to the lead when he took the lead on lap 6, but then lost it to Rusty Wallace on lap 10. Wallace would then lead for a few laps, then the lead
Super
went from
Rusty.
Wallace to Kyle Petty to John Nemechek. Then, with 5 laps to go, Tim Steele took
They're
the lead
editing
with
whoopsie.
Dick Trickle in second.
Sometimes, like, for some reason, when I try to do, like, a quick second long, you know, fade to the next clip, for some reason, Vegas just decides, I'm going to make this a longer fade than it should be.
Winning the shootout. Moving on now to the dual races. As for dual race number 1, Alan Kowicki started on the pole with Patty Moyes next to him, which means Kowicki will lead the field to the green flag for the 42nd Daytona 500. Per usual, the lead shifted around early, but Patty Moyes looked strong halfway through the race. However, she lost the lead with 9 laps to go, which opened the door for many more lead changes. Jeff
Thank you,
Green
Jet.
led with 3 laps
Appreciate
to
it.
go, with Ernie Irvin
Yeah,
second
we just
and
felt
Shawn
like that
Robinson
Foyt
third.
was the best
Dale
fit
Sr.
for all
and
that.
Morgan
And,
Shepherd were right behind
you know,
them.
I think Dale
Then
had a lot
Ernie
of respect
Irvin took
for
the lead coming
drivers
to
and
2 to
people in
go,
other forms of
with Dale
motorsport.
Sr. right behind him. Then on the final lap, the 3-time Daytona 500 champion was in the position to pounce, and he did. Going into turn 3, Earnhardt got to the inside of Irvin and went around
Raise
him,
hell,
leaving
praise
Irvin
Dale.
to dry on the outside, and Dale Earnhardt Sr. would go on to win duel number 1. As for the second duel race, this one was a little more active, as Rusty Wallace scored the pole for this race. On lap 8, we had a caution coming off turn 2 as Carl Long and Jerry Nadeau got together, going up into Rodney Orr and collecting the likes of Al Unser Jr., Ricky Rudd, Jeff Bodine, and Tommy Kendall, changing how this race was going to shape out. With that, Jeff Gordon led the field back to the green flag on lap 12. Tim Richmond would then take the lead a couple of laps later. Norm Benning, a surprise driver from last year's 500, was up in the top 5 at one point as he was racing for his own team this year. However, he did lose the draft and ended up in a second pack of leaders. But those leaders would eventually catch
Have you
back
seen
up,
the new Fork in
thanks
the
to
Road
main
episode
lead
yet?
pack being
I
held up
started
by
on
lap
it,
traffic.
and I'll probably finish it
To
after
go,
the stream.
Tim Richmond and Jeff
So,
Gordon were battling
Haven't been able to
out
get to it,
as
but
Richmond took
I
the lead
did
from
start
Gordon.
it.
Then on the final lap, Gordon had the chance to strike as he went to the inside of Richmond in turn 3, but then got held up by the lap car of Jerry Nadeau, and because of that, Tim Richmond would hang on to win duel
Tim
number
is him.
2 at Daytona. And with that, here are the list of all the drivers that failed.
Yeah, when that wreck
to
happened, I
qualify
sat there and I was like,
for the
oh,
2000
Al Unser
Daytona
Jr. is going to miss the
500.
500. Sometimes it happens, though, you know?
It's February in Daytona Beach, Florida, which can only mean one thing: the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. This one is certainly a well-anticipated race, with this being the first points race of the new millennium for the Winston Cup. 42 drivers are ready to go today for a chance at immortality and to put their names in the record books here at Daytona International Speedway. All of the off-season
Fun fact
over.
about this
It
opening
is
sequence to
time
the
go
500,
racing.
I actually tried to
The
match
pace
up the
car
camera
dives
angles
down pit road.
to the same way it
Alan
was in the
Kulwicki
broadcast
and
in the
Rusty
first few
Wallace
laps.
will lead the field of 42 to the start. Here we go. Here we go. Green flag. We're racing in the new millennium. Alan Kulwicki clears off turn 2 and takes the high line. That opens the door for the three-time winner of this race, Dale Earnhardt Sr., going after a fourth. 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 as they continue to build up speed as they head into turns 3 and 4.
Yeah, Tim Richmond still had a pretty good career, and obviously he's pretty happy doing what he's doing in trucks, I feel like.
Earnhardt is going to get around Kulwicki now as he brings the 90 of Morgan Shepherd with him. Back to the start-finish line for the first time. Dale Earnhardt, the Intimidator, will lead the first lap. Listen to that. 42 cars at speeds of 190 miles an hour plus as they come off turn 2. Down the backstretch for the second time today. And here comes rookie Paige Jones, the son of Parnelli Jones, to the inside of Earnhardt, and now bring another Earnhardt with him in the form of Kelly. Off of turn 4, Paige Jones now leads the way. We
I always
had
enjoy
rookies
using,
win the Daytona 500 before.
What's
Drivers
this
such
here?
as Joe Nemechek and Shauna Robinson.
Another update, since Zilich was going to run the Cup race tomorrow, he was supposed to. Trackhouse Racing has elected to withdraw the number 87 Red Bull Chevrolet from tomorrow's Cup race at Watkins Glen. We wish Connor a speedy recovery.
Still chasing that very first one.
Interesting. Well, I guess it is an open car, and I mean, I think it's a classy move. You know,
in the world, the Daytona 500.
Bobby Labonte's been in the Busch Series, driving for a family team. Yeah, I can respect that decision by Trackhouse. So, the 87 car will not run tomorrow.
Daytona 500 after winning it in 1997. We are 1/7 of the way through this year's running of the Daytona 500 as Paige Jones continues to lead. But here comes Rob Moroso to the inside as they head into turn 1. Jones had led the last handful of laps, but now that's going to go to Moroso with Patty Moyes following suit. I'm sure she'd love to join Robinson and Kelly Earnhardt as female winners of this race.
Oh, that's not
Rob
funny.
Moroso has led for about 7 laps now, but
Jesus
as they head
Christ.
towards turn 3, here comes the shootout winner, Davey Allison, now looking to snap a winless drought
Anyway.
in terms of points race wins. Allison battles Moroso here as Tammy Jo Kirk, with her new team Galaxy Motorsports, sits behind Allison. Here comes Roush Racing's newest driver, Mark Martin, the 1990 Winston Cup champion, who is looking to finally win
What's
the
this?
Daytona 500 as he
This
gets
is
past
unfortunate to
Allison
see.
for the lead.
Brian Keselowski crashed the number 1 Dodge truck he's been restoring in today's historic stock car event at Watkins Glen following Xfinity race. Oh no. I remember he was talking about driving his dad's truck. Oh no. Oh,
Looks
I
like
hate that for
Martin's lead
him.
is not going to last for long as Alan Kowicki dives down to the inside, and with help from rookie Matt Kenseth, the Polish Prince takes the lead, looking for his second 500 win in 3 years. It's a battle between rookies as Matt Kenseth battles with Tommy Kendall.
Whenever I do the Daytona 500, I always
Roger
hope for
Penske is
a
still
really
missing
exciting
that
race
Daytona
and
500 win,
hopefully
but
that,
also Jared
you know,
Bard is looking
get
to
people
shock the
get a
world
moment
with
that,
Tommy Kendall behind
you
the
know,
wheel.
you guys talk about
Kendall
like, man,
takes the lead from
that moment
Kenseth.
was so cool, you know, kind of thing.
We are nearing the halfway point in this race as Rob Moroso leads, but look who is in fourth place. That is the 84 of Norm Benning.
Storm
You
and Norm,
remember the
baby.
surprise run that he made a year ago, and here he is again, driving for his own team. Now we see him following the 75 of Tammy Jo.
Anyone
Kirk
remember
as
Sobe
Benning
drinks?
slides up into third now.
I don't think I ever had them, but I remember them being in stores when I was a kid.
Down the backstretch, and now Norm Benning is up to second.
And yes, there were moments in both the 99 and 2000 Daytona 500s where I was scared Norm Benning was going to win. I'm like, what do I do?
Daytona 500 as Moroso leads with his teammate Jeff Green right behind him.
I grew up playing the PS2.
RCR's
I still
looking
have
pretty
mine that I
strong here
got
as we see
Christmas
Jeff Green
2003.
to the inside
Yeah,
of
I still got it
Moroso.
somewhere.
Green has done a good job in that 31 car since replacing
Yeah, the
Neil
track.
Brock
Yeah, they're pulling the
years
87
ago,
from the
but
race.
now he wants to
That's
have a
fine. It,
multi-win
you know, I don't
season
think there's
and
much
be
of a problem
threat
there.
for the championship. Perhaps that dream can start today. Meanwhile, Kelly Earnhardt is now in the mix, as well as 1996 Daytona 500 winner Ricky Rudd, driving for that new team started up by Jim Brown and Willie Lanier, Celebrity Motorsports. Up front, Kelly Earnhardt goes to the inside, and she's going to take
Kelly's
the
always
lead.
been good at Daytona.
As she came close to winning this a year ago, she's trying to break a winless drought. Could today be the day? Green flag pit stops are underway as we see Brian Refner of Team Menard pulling off pit road, and Refner slams into Dale Earnhardt Jr. as he was leaving pit road. That is heavy damage to the front end of the 13. Refner may have gotten the worst of that one, and now he's going to have to go back down pit road to get that fixed. Tough break for that team.
Boink. You reckon NASCAR would have been a lot bigger in the Gran Turismo games than this universe?
Once more, as Jeff Green battles Rob Moroso on
yeah,
the
probably.
inside with help
You know.
from the 17 of Terry Labonte.
That's why I kind
We
of
have
gave
an
the
interesting group
Sony
of
Gran
8
Turismo
cars
thing
up here in the
with
front.
Tommy Kendall. You
How
know,
about
because
a
I thought that
little
could be a
right
fun
back at you
collab that
as
could have
we see
been
Rob
done in real
Moroso
life.
To Jeff Green's inside. The two RCR teammates are trying to make Daytona their playground here today. Both drivers looking for their first 500 win, but still plenty of racing left to go. Moroso continues to lead as they approach the lap car of Brian Refner, who's without a hood after that incident on pit road. You can tell he's definitely down on power, and Moroso gets away from everyone else. Meanwhile, the other leaders were massively held up.
I'll definitely make sure to
However,
be,
as long as they stick
give
together, I
the
am
Daytona
confident
500
that
and
they are gonna
SNL
catch
like the
back up
Racing
to
Infinity
Moroso in no
treatment,
time.
go in depth and showcase like the highlights and everything that happened in the race. I will definitely keep doing
15 laps to go as Kelly Earnhardt leads the way, and right behind her is Ricky Rudd. Rudd driving for that brand new team just for this season, as by this race next year, he will be in a Dodge for Ray Evernham. right to the inside of Earnhardt, and he's going to take that number 63 Gatorade Pontiac to the lead.
I will say, if there are some notable things in motorsports that would have caused a change because of what happened in SNL, then it's something to make note of. Kind of like I mentioned, Jeff Ward winning the Indy 500 because...
Rob Moroso runs away with it. And this time, Ruffner is really holding him up.
You know, like I said, Jeff Ward winning the Indy 500 because Kenny Brack was running NASCAR.
That's not going to work for the 1998 Super Truck Series champion. 8 laps to go now. Everyone has caught up, and we even have new faces up front.
Excuse me.
As Jeff Green leads. Shauna Robinson is up here, as well as last year's winner, Chad Little. Dale Jarrett could shock some people as he's running up here in front, too. Norm Benning now holds up some lappers as Jeff Green tries to take advantage of it.
Well, you know, the lap traffic makes things interesting sometimes.
To bring the excitement, and that's exactly what they are doing right now. Shauna Robinson gets some help from Chad Little as she gets to the inside of Jeff Green. Robinson shocked the world back in 1994 when she had just come off winning the Busch Series Championship, and now in 2000, she wants to win her second Great American Race. 3 laps remain in the Great American Race. Shauna Robinson is out in front, looking to win her second Daytona 500, and behind her on the inside, 2 Kenny.
7 Indy Racing Championship.
And Kenny Wallace. What an incredible.
That's something I have to go back and check on. I don't want to
race.
just randomly confirm it just yet, but I think that would be something I want to go back and do a little more research on in terms of that and SNL and all that.
And he is just 2.5 laps away from potentially winning the Daytona 500, but he's got to deal with Shauna Robinson. Off turn 4, Robinson still
Not to mention the lap traffic created a big pack contending for the win.
Joe Kirk 4th, and Rusty Wallace is 5th. Rusty has done just about everything but win the Great American Race. Can today be his day?
Sitting there when I did this race doing the closing laps, I'm sitting there going, man, Shauna could win her second 500. We could get a Wallace 1-2. Thinking about like the endless possibilities that could happen in the closing laps.
Can he make the move on Kenny Brack as they go into turn 3? This could be huge for him, and he's going to do just that. Into turn 3 now.
Yeah, because right here I was like, oh man, are we going to get a Wallace 1-2?
It's his brother Rusty. Could we see the 2 Wallace brothers duke it out for the win here at Daytona? Back to the start-finish line. White flag for Shauna Robinson. Kenny Wallace gets around Brack.
Yeah, this was a pretty fun finish, I have to say.
But you gotta remember, it's every driver for themselves. As I say,
Rusty's like, sorry, Kenny, I gotta win this.
Kenny Wallace. Ernie Irvin is there too, and Shauna Robinson is approaching that lap car, Brian Refner. This could get really interesting here as they go down the backstretch for the.
And then I held my breath here because I'm like, oh no, they're catching the wrecked car Refner.
She dives to the inside, uses the 13 as a pick. Does Rusty Wallace have any time left? I don't think he does. Off turn 4, the crowd's going wild. She won it in 94. She's going to do it again. Shauna Robinson wins the Daytona 500 for the second time ever. She beats out Rusty Wallace for the win, and now she is a 2-time winner of the Great American Race. She shocked the world back in 94, but now as an established Cup driver and a champion.
Yeah, this,
Shauna Robinson,
like I said, just looking at this and then looking at the eventual championship battle,
as you take a look
sometimes
at final top 10
NR 2003 just knows. It just writes the story itself.
Wallace,
it's hard to explain,
so
but
close.
yeah.
But he is still not won.
And that's going to be another story for the 2001 Daytona 500, you know? Can Rusty finally win the 500, right? So he's done it all except win the 500. So that's going to be a story to take a look at for sure.
In the next race at Rockingham, Rusty Wallace started on pole in this one, and he was lights out early with a thrilling battle behind. Alan Kowicki and Kyle Petty were the early cars on a mission. But rookie Matt Kenseth ran his way to the top 3 and left a statement that he could be the best of this stacked rookie class. Davey Allison and Shauna Robinson both had fast cars late. as Davey is having a great rebound to start his season. But Shauna Robinson had the best car and got around both him and Kyle Petty. A caution during the final round of stops for Tammy Jo Kirk and Chad Little changed the lineup a bit, with Kenseth and Jeff Gordon battling Shauna Robinson amid some lappers in the final run. Rusty Wallace
20 years
showed
of
how he had the
frustration.
best car of the day with a great run up to second.
I didn't think about that. That's
would
actually
be where
clever.
he'll finish. For the second week in a
Frustration.
row,
Oh,
he's
man.
runner-up to Shauna Robinson, who closes it out to open the season back-to-back. Then at Las Vegas, Jeff Gordon started on the pole.
And now
with
we were at the
Kenny
point
Brack
we were
in
getting all
third.
the
A very
.com sponsored
impressive
races,
start for him,
right?
though he wasn't much of a factor. Shauna Robinson was hot, looking for 3 in a row, but stealing the show was Matt Kenseth. The rookie took the lead during the first run and would take a big lead after first pit stops. Kenseth faded a bit in the long run and did a masterful job blocking. Until about 25 to go, when Gordon and Irvin finally got by before final pit stops. Kenseth lost a bit of ground on the final stops, and the final run had a pack including Irvin, Gordon, Robinson, Moroso, Dale Sr., and Rusty Wallace exchanging top positions. Shauna ultimately got around Gordon, and Rusty followed her. It looked
It's
like
honestly
we could
crazy
have
how good
3
Rusty
fights
Wallace has
between
gotten.
Shauna
Like I
and
said,
Rusty in a row.
he was good in real life, but the
When
fact
it
that,
came
like,
close, it wasn't meant
you know,
to be.
he
As
got
RCR
into dominant
teammates
form,
Moroso
you know,
and Earnhardt got around
winning the
Wallace,
title in 94, winning it in
while they may
95,
have gotten the win
destroying
in
the
a
field
few
in
more
97, and
it wasn't
dominating
enough.
again in 2000.
A scratch off for 3 in a row. Shauna Robinson.
see, at this
wins
point, I was like,
again.
oh man,
This is
Shauna,
the second
I think
time
Shauna's
the
going to
driver
win
has
her
swept the
second
first
title this
3
season, and
races,
then
with Dale
the
Earnhardt
summer hits,
doing it
and
back in
Rusty just kept
1988.
winning, and I was like,
At Sears
oh,
Point, Jeff
I
Gordon
think Rusty's
started
winning
on
the
pole
title,
and
guys.
had the dominant car,
But what can you
leading
do?
most
That's
of
just
the
how the
race
cookie
outside
crumbles,
pit
you know?
cycles. We had one
It's no
accident
different to
on
how
pit
Jeff
road
Gordon was
taking out
dominating
Rick
in the
Mast
second
and
half of the
Borsett
90s and into the
after they
2000s
nearly went
and
3 wide
stuff like
entering
that.
pit road, hitting the wall but being inside the wall, keeping it green. Alan Kawicki ran second to Jeff Gordon much of the way, but never had a chance to make a move. Jeff Gordon wins in Napa Valley, the very track where he got his first career win back in 1994. Also of note,
Jeff.
Bubba Nissen has a great run in third. After being the biggest career change in Sunday Night Lights, does he have one more win in him after a 3-year losing streak? At Atlanta, the top 2 from Sears Point ran up front early, with Kawicki on pole and Jeff Gordon beside him. While they battled early, this
I've
race
also been
would
amazed
become
how
one
good
of
Alan
attrition,
Kawicki's been
a
on road
rarity
courses
for a
in this
non-plate
timeline.
race.
I
Shortly
don't know
before
what
halfway,
caused that,
Dale
but
Earnhardt got
it
spun
was just
in
like,
turn 3
wow.
and started a chain reaction that took out the pole sitter Alan Kawicki.
Every time I
Plus,
see stuff
Vince
like this, I'm
Jones,
like,
John
watch out, watch
Nemechek,
out, watch
and
out!
Chad Little.
Ah!
Then soon after, we had a mess on the restart as the
Oh,
lap
what
car
can you do?
Jeff Bodine fired off well from the lap line, but on the backstretch, he suddenly had a problem, slowed and got spun by Darrell Waltrip, causing a big wreck that took out Rusty Wallace, Jeff Green, both DEI cars, Dale Jr., and a few others.
The big one at Atlanta. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
After this
Yeah,
mess,
it's just
we
one of
had
those
a
things
clean
where you're
race
like,
to the
good
end
Lord.
between Sterling Marlin, Rob Moroso, and the rookie Matt Kenseth, with Sterling Marlin taking home the win. Also of note, while she did have some luck to thank, Kelly Williams comes home 12th in her Winston Cup debut. Louisiana was a calmer one after last week's shenanigans, as we had an RCR front row with Jeff Green and Dale Earnhardt leading early. Green had the best
Of the
car
new tracks
day,
that
but
have
thanks to lap traffic,
been in the
Sterling
Cup Series
Marlin
that
was
weren't
able
there
to
in real
catch up
life.
to him.
Which one's,
However, Marlin couldn't
which one do you
quite
guys
get
like the
fully
most? Like,
past
which
the
has been your
31,
favorite of the
and Green
new
would take
additions?
back a big lead after a flawless pit stop. Jeff Green would lead the entire second half en route to his first win of the season, with Ernie Irvan taking second after a long battle. Kelly Earnhardt takes fifth as she slowly looks to return to form, but her teammate Tony Stewart wasn't as lucky, having some problems with his car and finishing in 40th. We had an incredible race at Dover as Rusty Wallace started on pole and his teammate Matt Kenseth came along with him. This race was a wild one all around, starting with Shauna Robinson getting spun by Kenseth. On the restart, Kenny Wallace led by staying out with his brother Rusty behind him. Kenny Wallace fell in the start as expected, but we had an incredible moment where Rusty, Kyle Petty, and Jeff Gordon were 3 wide for the lead, and Petty came too far down and spun himself off Gordon from the front. He collected Paige Jones, then Paige Jones got on his roof coming down the banking after being hit by Matt Kenseth and Joe Nemechek. Amid some splitting strategy, John Nemechek led the race in pursuit of his first win, while behind, Patty Moyes pursued him. Moyes took the lead in what was a short fuel run where many pit with 10 to go, but then we had a yellow with 7 to go where none other than Rusty Wallace had yet to pit and had taken the lead. In a bizarre circumstance, we had Rusty Wallace stay out as one of the 3 cars on the lead lap. The others being Moyes and Bubba Nissen with tires and fuel. Rusty was clearly down on power and dropped to let lappers by, but by God, he held on. Rusty Wallace goes back to
it's
back
Rusty Wallace
and
with a steel
wins
chair.
at Dover on fumes. If we had one more lap, Bubba Nissen would have broken.
Yeah,
his
I sat there and I
20-year
was like,
losing
man,
streak.
Rusty still won.
Rusty Wallace pulled off the miracle, and he may have been the pole sitter, but it was nowhere near easy.
See, SoCal,
The
I
very
don't know
next
why.
race at Road America
Oh, yeah, I think Louisiana
was a
would have a
wild
fun
one.
atmosphere for sure.
Qualifying set a wild tone for this race as Dale Earnhardt started on pole, followed by rookies Paige Jones and Tony Stewart, then Patty Moyes.
It's been fun
and
hitting all
Ron
sorts
Fellows
of different
in his
markets
first of 2
in this
starts
timeline,
in
and
the
perhaps
Ford
some more to
Sacco
come.
car.
Who knows?
3 of our top 5 have 0 career wins. We had a bit of disorientation early after a lap 1 yellow for Kenny Wallace, but we had a road course thriller when things got going. After leading the race early, Dale Earnhardt had a slow stop and gave up the lead to Paige Jones with Tony Stewart behind. 2 rookies and Busch title rivals battling in the Cup Series. But on the second round of stops, that would change, as Stewart had his own rough stop and Ron Fellows leapfrogged him. In the late going, 2 drivers were battling for their first Winston Cup win, and one of them in his first start of the year, no less. Paige Jones had to hold off the closing Ron Fellows late in the race, including nearly using the bumper with a lap and a half to go.
Those could be future
Ron Fellows was
potential
ready to
international
strike, but couldn't
exhibition
make a
races,
move
perhaps.
and ran
Just
wide
depends
every
on
time. And
what we got planned and
regardless
what's in
of who
store
won,
down the road.
It was a first career win alert, and this one goes to the Bill Davis 93 from on his roof just a week ago to his first Winston Cup win. Paige Jones wins at Road America. Just like the Busch Series, he gets his first career win on a road course, and he takes down one of road racing's best to do it.
I love that Circuit City scheme.
Now we head to Darlington for the
Rose Jam
annual
made
running
there.
of the Winston. A race where points is not a concern, but bragging rights and a $500,000 check for the winner is. Let's take a look at how it went down. Matt Kenseth started on the pole for the Winston Open, looking to continue his impressive rookie season, as Kenseth led for the first half of the race. But that was until John Nemechek took the lead and even held off a charging Kelly Earnhardt in the end.
Another All-Star
And
Open
for
win
the
for John
third
Nemechek.
year in a row, John Nemechek wins the Open and advances to the All-Star. Not only that, but a Nemechek has now
The
won
2 different
Open
Rockingham
in
circuits on the
4
schedule.
straight
Yeah, I'd be like,
years.
this is Rockingham, North
Shauna
Carolina.
Robinson
This
and
is
Dale
Rockingham,
Earnhardt led the field
UK.
to the green flag to begin the Winston, as Robinson
Oh,
broke out
that
to
Rockingham.
an early lead and led until the end of the first stage. Then, after the restart, it was Dale Earnhardt taking charge, as it appeared he had a fast car. However, luck didn't swing his way when he and other leaders had to pit close to the end of the second stage. With that, it came down to a pair of RCR teammates, Rob Moroso and Jeff Green.
How many tracks have hosted
On
the
the
Winston?
final lap, Green made the move
this
at the
point?
right time as he
Well,
passed Rob Moroso
take a look here.
in turns 1 and 2, and taking home the $500,000 prize, winning the Winston. All three RCR cars ran together
Let's see.
coming to the
Charlotte,
line,
Wilkesboro,
despite Dale
Bristol,
Sr.
Daytona
being
Road
at the
Course,
tail
Texas
end
World,
of the lead lap.
Nashville,
Stock
Talladega,
car racing's
Atlanta,
longest night was marked by the impressive Cup debut of Adam Petty, who will run 3 or 4 races this year in the Team
I think
Sacco
11 or
47.
12 at this point.
Ernie Irvan was on the pole in this one, and it was an early battle between the AK Racing and Richard Childress Racing camps.
Yeah, I won't say 11 to
We had
12.
all 3 RCR cars battle for the lead between Green, Moroso, and Dale Sr., with the 3 being the best in the long run. Alan Kawicki tried to take the lead at a few points, but the Intimidator rode high in a calm, dominant race for his first win of the season. Dale
Praise
Earnhardt
hell,
really
praise
continued
Dale.
his rebound after a disappointing last 2 or 3 seasons. Stealing the show, however, was Adam Petty, who, despite starting 25th, steadily climbed all day to an impressive 6th. Team Sapco is being much slower with his development, but he's mighty impressive so far. The NASCAR Winston Cup Series has arrived to the Windy City at Chicago Motor Speedway, located in Cicero, Illinois.
It's the track with the weird
In
shit.
front of a sold-out
That's a good
crowd,
point.
Jeff Green and Rusty Wallace led the field to the green flag as the city of Chicago welcomed the best racers in the world.
Surely nothing insane would happen towards the end of this race at all, right?
Rusty Wallace would immediately take the lead from Jeff Green and pull away.
Remember, this track was in the
Four-time
movie
champion
Driven.
would lead until the first round of green flag pit stops. However, he would lose the lead. The lead would go to Jeff Gordon, hoping to bring home a home track win for McDonald's. Rusty Wallace would lose a few positions after his pit stop, and it looked like Jeff Gordon was not going to be stopped. That was until 3 laps to go as Gordon
Here
held
it
a
comes.
6-second lead over Kyle Petty.
Again,
Jeff
surely
Gordon
nothing
was
crazy will
working with a
happen
group
at
of
all.
lap cars, and when heading into turn 1,
See, I promise.
Gordon was suddenly
Nothing's
turned by
gonna.
the lap
Oh.
car of
Oh.
Eddie Bierswell.
Oh.
The crowd was in shock as they both go right into the turn 1 wall. It immediately took Jeff Gordon out of the race, and Kyle Petty would take the checkered flag in the inaugural Winston
I just
Cup
jaw
race
dropped when
at
I saw that. I was
Chicago,
like, that.
and one I'm sure
what just
that all
happened?
those fans will remember for years to come. The June race in Michigan was an exciting one, as rookie Paige Jones started on the pole as he and Alan Kawicki led the field to the green flag. Bill Davis Racing ran 1-2 in the opening laps
Trading
as
pla-
Paige
pro-
Jones led
Have
with
you seen
Jeff
Trading
Gordon
Places
looking
by
to
Les
rebound
Moore?
from the disastrous finish in Chicago a week ago.
Sounds
It's been a
familiar.
great season so far for Bill Davis Racing, as you see Paige Jones driving a paint scheme promoting the game Crazy Taxi. After that,
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah,
back
yeah,
and forth
yeah.
between
I've seen
Shauna
it.
Robinson and Dale Earnhardt, as Robinson took the lead on lap 7. Then Earnhardt would lead
That movie
for a
with
while
realistic
as
driving
he and
scenes.
Robinson back.
Exactly.
Then, during the first round of green flag pit stops, we had some drama, as Dale Sr. and Sterling Marlin made a bit
That
of
Denny
contact
Hamlin
coming
seems
off
to love
pit
for some
road,
reason.
but would keep
Yeah, how
going.
about that, huh?
However, moments later, there was a miscommunication meltdown between teammates.
Good Lord, James
as
Dennis.
Patty Moyes accidentally turned Shauna Robinson up the track, coming off pit road. Then, as Robinson corrected herself, Paige Jones slammed into the 40, collecting Matt Kidds at 2. Then, as Jones came back down, he collected Dale Earnhardt Jr. and both SS Motorsports cars in the process. Schuniver, Nemechek, and
Another
Dale
Enter
Jr.
2003
would keep
wreck.
going. Shortly after the restart, Jeff Green took the lead from Mark Martin, but then with 30 to go, the Penske Fords were out in front as Rusty Wallace led, then Marlin. Then, as the final round of green flag pit stops took place, Kyle Petty turned Tim Steele from fourth place sending the
Another
up
reason
the
hate
track
Denny
and
for me.
into Dale Earnhardt.
Everyone knows Days of Thunder is the
Earnhardt
best.
had nowhere to go, and he gets taken out
Hoping
of the
for that
race,
sequel.
and his steal came back down. Davey Allison
For Days of
slammed
Thunder, of
into
course.
him. In the closing laps, Kelly Earnhardt had the lead and was hoping to finally earn her first Cup win since her rookie year in 1997. She drove hard, but had a very fast 31 car of Jeff Green right behind her. Kelly Earnhardt fought hard, but with 4 laps to go, Jeff Green finally found an opening as he passed the 14 to take the lead. Jeff Gordon, Kyle Petty, and Rusty Wallace were all there as well, contending for the win, but then coming to 2 to go, Kelly Earnhardt surged past Jeff Gordon on the outside.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I was
now
doing
getting
this
her
race,
shot
I
to win
sat
the
there
race.
and I was like,
On the final
come
lap,
on.
it was Green
I
versus
just want
Earnhardt.
Kelly to win a
As
race.
down the backstretch,
I just
she
want her to
jumped
win.
the inside,
I just want her to
but
win.
She wasn't able to
Just-
make the
just-
pass.
I was
and
like,
Jeff
oh.
Green would collect his second
I don't mean to be
win
like that, but
of
it's just like, just for the
2000.
sake of the,
This also
you know.
marks Jeff Green's first multi-win season of his career. The first
And our
Pocono
2003's
race was a
realism
pretty
is about as
calm race
consistent
with
as
a
the
wild, fun finish.
Mariners'
Big
playoff
drivers of
contention
the day
odds.
were Shauna
Mariners.
Robinson,
Hey, I'm a
John
Reds fan.
Rosa,
I feel you,
and
man.
Sterling Marlin exchanging the lead all day. In the midst of lap traffic, Rusty Wallace caught them as well, but Sterling Marlin was pulling away thanks to better traffic management. Then with 7 laps to go, a caution came out during the final round of stops. Dale Earnhardt had just gone down pit road and was trying to stretch his fuel for the final run. With a restart with 2 to go, Dale Sr. blocked Marlin on the restart and got room. Marlin was faster, but Dale could block, and Rusty Wallace made it a 3-way fight. The two went side by side in turn 3 on the final lap, and
Yeah, maybe
Marlin
next year.
finally got the run he needed to prevent Dale Sr. from stealing it in a side-by-side finish. Marlin picks up the win at the Tricky Triangle. For the first time ever, the NASCAR Winston Cup Series is racing.
At least
in
the Reds
San
still not
Diego
been swept.
As Rusty Wallace led the field
Yeah.
to the green flag.
That's
to
honestly
kick
been an
off
impressive
the inaugural
thing
Gold
this year.
Pacific 500.
Speaking of which, hey, they won today. They're not going to get swept out. Whew. Long day. Long day. Kidding, I love Griffey. Oh, yeah. Griffey was a hell of a ball player. And how about that? SNL predicted NASCAR in San Diego.
Wallace faced battles with Jeff Green and Shauna Robinson, but it's only fitting that the 2 car would run away with the victory in the inaugural Winston Cup race at the SoCal Speedrome. Alan Kawicki also had a notable race, climbing all the way to 15th after starting dead last. After faltering in the title fight the last 2 seasons, Rusty Wallace came alive to make this summer the summer of Rusty. Rusty Wallace
Yeah, Rusty
would
was
win
like,
again the next
"Nah,
week
I'd
in
win."
New Hampshire, then win the second Pocono race. And after a remarkable battle with Patty Moyes, Rusty Wallace would win the 6th running of the
You seen Griffey
Brickyard
doing photography
400
again? Yeah, I have
in
noticed that.
Indianapolis,
I have noticed that.
And became the first driver since Cale Yarbrough in 1976 to win 4 Winston Cup races in a row. After Indy, Wallace had a
Yeah, this was the moment in the season where I'm like,
252-point lead
I think
over
Rusty's winning the
Jeff
title
Gordon,
again.
as his drive for 5 was looking very promising. But with nearly half the season to come, anything can happen. Before we move on to the rest of the season, let's take a quick intermission to discuss the season's biggest off-track story, the return of Dodge to the Winston Cup Series. At the end of last season, we shared that Ray Evernham was leading the project and would be a team owner within their program. Over the course of the
Let's
season,
see.
the big 3
Will there be
of
more
Dodge
fictitious
teams were
ovals?
announced. Let's talk about them and their implications on this season as well. To begin with
We'll
Ray
see, wait and
Evernham's own
see.
team, he will be partnering with someone we have already seen him work with before, Bill Elliott. Much like real life, Ray Evernham will be purchasing the Elliott Melling Marino team to create the Dodge flagship, with Bill and Casey Elliott coming into the program. Unlike real life, however, Bill will maintain a partial ownership role as a result of his success in NASCAR's lower series. Exact details are to come, but what can be said is that Bill Elliott and Casey Elliott will be getting much needed equipment upgrades in 2001. As for the second team to join the Dodge program, it belongs to a famous name in American motorsports, though he's new to the Winston Cup Series. That being Chip Ganassi, this year's Indianapolis
Still isn't the
500
most annoying
winning
Penske
owner.
champion.
In real life, Ganassi bought into the fading Sapco racing team, but needless to say, Felix Sabates stands on his own as a top owner in the sport. So, where does Ganassi's team come from instead? Chip Ganassi will purchase a different team in need of its next chapter. That being SS Motorsports. In 2001, the Speed Schoonover team will become Chip Ganassi Racing with Speed and Schoonover, as the two founding drivers transition into a smaller advisory role for the kart team owner. The 48-year-old Terry Schoonover, who achieved 5 Winston Cup victories in his career, announced that he will retire from full-time racing after the 2000 season. Though he does plan to run 2 or 3 races in 2001 as part of upstarting the Dodge program, amid the changing landscape of the sport, the time was right for the team to change hands. And lastly, rounding out the 3 Dodge flagships is a team with limited Winston Cup success, though they've become one of the greatest at developing drivers. Jarrett Favre Motorsports. While Dale Jarrett never found his footing as a driver at the Winston Cup level, he and his business partner have created an empire in the lower series. Dodge will bring
I
them
think
in
Jarrett
to
Favre's
maintain
going to
this
be really fun to
pipeline,
watch
as
moving
well as
forward
create new opportunities
them
for their Winston Cup program.
heading over to Dodge.
Dodge made it clear that they will be shaking up the Winston Cup grid. Now the question becomes, who will drive the open seats for the program, and how likely are they to win right away? Time will tell. But for now, we need to see the rest of the 2000 season.
And of course, we'll cover all that when we
Following
do 2001.
Rusty's recent dominance, Watkins Glen provided us with an instant classic from the very beginning. Wallace's chance at 5 wins in a row ended on the first lap with a rare road course big one. Rusty Wallace and Jeff Gordon, our top 2
The
in
big
points,
one at Watkins
got
Glen.
together in the S's and took out Rob Moroso and Sterling Marlin
Which
as well.
what Austin
Rusty
Hill did
continued,
today.
though he finished several laps down with damage, and the others were done for the day. To add even more chaos, the recent road course ace Alan Kowicki was in another wreck, causing Shauna Robinson to be the only driver in the top 5 in points to finish on the lead lap. As for what happened up front, Sapco showed once again that they're the most rounded team, with all 4 cars running top 10 for most of the race. But on the second restart, Ron Fellows managed to dive bomb Patty Moyes in the S's.
Yes. Wait,
Fellows
if
was
you could change
in
one moment, what would in
despite
SNL,
the
what would it
chaos.
be? Oh,
Though he
man.
had to deal with Moyes plus Ernie.
Now
Harvey
that was
one
the
more
Austin
time
Hill
after
wreck.
a final caution for Ricky Rudd breaking down in the S's to set up a 2-lap
What's
dash
the-
to the finish.
That clip from
Urban
SpongeBob.
tried to
How
get a
many
chance
times
at
do we
it
have to
coming
teach you
to
this
Wallace,
lesson,
but
old man?
he couldn't. For the first time in a
Achievement
long
law
time,
caused a big one on a
we
road
have
course.
a road ringer upset in the Winston Cup, and who else but Ron Fellows?
If you could change one
who
moment
didn't
SNL,
even
what would
get
it be?
a race win in Stock GT this season,
Oh,
bringing home his
man.
first Winston Cup win at the Glen. A huge story amid the
Yeah,
standings
Dale in
chaos
87's a
that
good
this
one.
race
That's a
brought
good
with
question,
it,
though.
and an instant classic on the road course. When everyone thought that
What would
Rusty
you want
had
to bet
the season
SVG
in the
appears
bag,
like a decade
there was
before he
one
did in
driver
real
that
life?
stepped up to challenge him.
Well,
That being
Stock
our
GT
Daytona
exists. Who
500
knows,
winner,
right? Who knows?
Shauna Robinson, as she had a hard-earned win at Michigan, beating Rob Moroso at the line in a close battle. Then she came close
You
to
never
winning
know.
the Bristol Night Race, but she came up
Definitely
short
looking forward to
the
the coming
defending
seasons
champion, Ernie Irvan,
and
finally
SNL for
getting
sure.
his first win of the season.
Excuse me.
The Southern 500 came down
Sorry.
to a battle of veterans on a late restart. Dale Earnhardt and Kyle Petty went side by side for second, but neither could get a run on the leader, that being Alan Kowicki. He wins
Alan.
at Darlington, for back-to-back wins for AK Racing. The 2000 Tyson 400 at North Wilkesboro had some tempers flaring for sure. Kyle Petty started on the pole. Meanwhile, Shauna Robinson started 41st and started driving to the field. The first caution came out on lap 30 when Wally Dallenbach turned the 75 of Tammy
this
Jo
race
Kirk
was
right in front of the leaders.
crazy because it's just
Petty
I felt like
led
there
at
was
the
just
lead start,
beef
but
after
shortly
beef
there
after
was
beef
another
after
caution on
beef.
lap 39 when Morgan Shepherd lost power, and with nowhere to go, Terry Labonte slammed into the 90. Then Dale
Boink.
Jarrett ran into Labonte, causing the 17 to flip over. Labonte would get back on his wheels and drive back to pit road, but his day was done. Kyle Petty continued to lead all the way to the next caution on lap 67 when Tommy Kendall turned Tim Steele into Casey Elliott. Then Kendall bounced off the inside wall on the front stretch, coming back up and collecting the other Elliott in the process. After that, Kyle Petty still led the way, but Sterling Marlin was right behind him in second. The next caution came on lap 90 when it nearly got 4 wide coming off turn 4 as Jeff Green sent Tommy Kendall into Dale Jr. Then Kendall went into pinball mode, getting into John Nemechek, Wally Dallenbach, and the 96 of Eddie Bierschwell. That wasn't all, as up ahead,
Having
Tim
to be an
Steele
impartial
slid into
host
Jeff
and lead
Green,
events
sending
play
them
out
both
must
in
lead
the
to a lot
wall
of annoying
in turn 2.
situations
Right
where you
behind
don't
them,
like
Tony
it, but
Stewart
you have
moved
to just
Kenny
let it
Balls,
happen.
causing the 4 to hit the
Yeah,
wall.
I just whatever happens, happens.
After some leaders pit,
Now, of course,
Lehman
if
went
things
to
get a
Rusty
little
Wallace.
too out of hand, like there's just
He led until
caution
almost
after
30 to go,
caution, or
and Kyle Petty turned
things
the
just look
15
really
to Tony
unrealistic,
Stewart.
then, like,
I'm
okay,
sure
we'll
he'll
redo the
remember
race.
that. Sterling Marlin then took
but,
the lead
you know,
and drove away with it. As
you
his
just have to
teammate
let it
Matt
happen. And in
Kenseth
some
was
ways,
Marlin
I
looked
feel
he
like
was about to lock up a
the
win.
story's written
That was
itself
until
in a
caution
way.
came out with 10 to go
Like,
when Jeff Gordon
again, I
turned
feel
the
like NR
97 of
2003
Chad
can be
Little.
self-aware at times.
We
I don't know
restarted
what
with
it
4
is.
to
I just
go,
feel like
what might have been a
he just
candidate
knows.
for finish of the year. Sterling Marlin
Beef after beef after
restarted
beef
with the
after
lead,
beef is a
Matt Kenseth
way better ad
second,
campaign
Ernie
than
Irvin
It's
third,
What's for
and
Dinner.
Rusty Wallace in fourth. Marlin tried
Yeah, I
to
guess
drive
so.
away, but Rusty Wallace drove like he shot out of a cannon. Wallace passed Irvin coming to 3 laps to go, and then he passed Matt Kenseth.
Again,
As
Rusty
Penske
Wallace
had
literally
a
said,
chance to
"Nah,
finish
I'd
1,
win."
2, 3. Then Rusty Wallace battled
You've
side
been
by
rustied.
side with Marlin coming to the white flag. Super Rusty completed the pass on the backstretch, and he would drive away to steal
Unfun
the
fact,
win
there was a Bristol race a
at
season or
North
2 ago we threw
Wilkesboro.
out because
Patty
the pit
Moyes
road
did get
glitched.
to third,
Oh, I remember
breaking
that,
up
yeah.
the 1, 2, 3 for
That
Roger
was
Penske's
weird.
team.
Yeah,
The
that was an
fun
instance
for the
where we were
race
like,
was
yeah,
an
we
eventful
gotta,
one, as Nadu started
we gotta
on the pole,
redo
Shauna
this.
Robinson led early. Though her hopes to take a chunk out of Rusty's lead slipped with some lost positions and light damage, she would end up finishing 24th. As for the late stage of this one, Rusty Wallace and Jeff Gordon were running up front, battling for the lead, while Kyle Petty ran third, and in just his 3rd Cup start, Adam Petty.
Yeah, I remember sitting here going,
fourth
oh Lord, is Adam Petty going to win a cup race?
The race changed dramatically with a late caution right
You
in
should have
front of
kept
the
that
leaders
race.
when Tammy Jo Kirk got together with Rick Mass, taking out the lap carved Alan Kowicki and leading Gordon and Rusty nowhere to go. Rusty had some damage and had to pit, but stayed on the lead lap, while Gordon was out of the race. This set up
You
a
know,
final
Martinsville
restart
in
led by
NR
Kyle
2003.
Petty, Rob Moroso, and Adam Petty. Kyle Petty pulled away in a 3-lap dash, and Kyle Petty gets his 3rd win of the season, yet again in dramatic fashion. While behind, his 20-year-old son, Adam, takes 2nd. A stunning
Petty won, too.
1-2 finish at the
Once again,
sport's most
sometimes
historic track.
Sometimes it just writes
At the
itself.
fall race at Lowe's Motor Speedway,
Jeff Green wanted to be a
Alan
starting
Kowicki
part, but
was
God
very
wouldn't let him.
bright and would lead
Jeff
for
Green
about
woke up
the
and chose
17 laps
violence.
of the race. Then Sterling Marlin would take the lead from him, and Kelly Earnhardt.
Well, Eddie
qualified
Bierschwell woke
well,
up and chose
with
violence in
Gurley
that
up in the
Chicago
top two.
race.
Then, on lap 25, Kelly Earnhardt took the lead from Marlin. However, this caused Rusty Wallace to reel them in. Then, after the first round,
This
of
was
pit
another
stops,
case where I
it was
sat there and
Sterling
like,
Marlin versus Kelly.
Come on,
Earnhardt.
Kelly. Come on.
She did everything she could to stay up front and contend.
Again, she
Marlin
showed
he
bright
had a better
flashes.
car,
Just,
but
you
even
know,
when she was
couldn't
passed, she fought back.
seal the deal.
She even took the lead back at one point,
But she's
lost
definitely
again.
getting there.
It was a tremendous battle between the 14
Chose
and the
mild
22,
annoyance.
as this helped the likes of Jeff Green and Rusty Wallace as well. Marlin then led to the next round of green flag pit stops, in which Jeff Green would then inherit the lead. Green was able to keep
And what
his
a career
distance
Jeff
between
Green has
himself
had
and
in
Marlin
this timeline.
all the way through. As
Definitely a
Jeff
lot more
Green was
successful
eyeing
than
his fifth win
in
of
real
the
life.
season. Until
He's
8
done a
laps to go
mighty
in the
fine
race,
job in that 31.
when Jeff Green's motor let go. His engine blew from the lead. He had a clutch problem, and like that, Jeff Green was out of the race, handing the lead and the win over to Sterling Marlin. On another note, Blaze Alexander made his Winston Cup debut, starting 10th, running towards the front for most of the race, and finishing an impressive third place. I think it's safe to say he's ready for Cup next season. Patty Moyes was having a solid season, but so far she had gone winless. However, that would finally change at the next race at Talladega, when she earned her first win of the season.
Yeah, I was
Not
getting
only
worried there
that,
for a while. I was like,
she would
man,
win
Patty's not
back-to-back
winning.
races,
And then she's
as
like,
she
nope,
picked
I'm
up
here.
The win at Gateway
Here's a
as
win.
well.
Another win for Patty
After
Moyes.
Jeff Gordon took the checkered flag at Riverside, Shauna Robinson was 155 points back from point leader Rusty Wallace. Robinson has a chance here, but she would need a slip up from Rusty Wallace to really take advantage. And in the next race at Phoenix, she got just that. As Rusty Wallace was leading, his Miller Lite Ford goes up in smoke. He blows his engine
Did
at
somebody
the worst
say boom?
time possible, decimating a comfortable points lead just like that. Meanwhile, Shauna Robinson was having a great run too, climbing to 5th and then 3rd after the pit cycle. Alan Kowicki took the lead.
Yeah,
led
this is
most
the
of
instance
way.
where I was like, okay,
Shauna Robinson
at
got
least
close,
the
but
championship
the
battle will
lappers
be fun.
Never got a run at the win.
I at least
Kowicki
wanted
takes
a
home
good
his
championship
third
battle
win of the
here.
year, but more importantly,
Referring back to
Rusty Wallace's points lead
who I was
has
cheering
been
for the
shaved
championship.
back to just a few
Because now I sat here
positions
like,
in an
ooh,
instant,
Shauna's got a chance
with
to
two
pounce here.
races to go. There was plenty of drama in South Florida as Rusty Wallace started on the pole and led for the first third of the race. On the opposite end, Shauna Robinson started in 35th, but she was flying through the field, at times even looking faster than Rusty. She got to the top 10 by the time she had to pit for the first time. After the first round of stops cycled through, Dale Earnhardt took over the lead and no one was able to get near him.
Praise Hill, praise
Earnhardt
Dale.
led all the way to the closing laps as this race turned into a fuel race. And heartbreak would strike for the
Also
number 3
pain.
team as Dale Sr. had to pit coming to 2 laps to go. He would end up finishing 16th. This, however, handed the lead to Rob Moroso, who had not won all year. Rusty Wallace and
Yeah,
Ernie
that was the
Irvin
case
did
where I was
all
like,
they
wow,
could do to
Moroso
chase
hasn't
him
won all
down,
year?
But it was Moroso picking up the win at
It's
Homestead.
funny to imagine a back marker screwing with
37
everyone
points
else's
separate
spike.
Shauna Robinson
Yeah.
from the championship heading into Atlanta. Will it be Shauna becoming a 2-time champion, or Rusty Wallace completing the drive for 5? For the first time at Atlanta, we are under the lights as we're set to crown a NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion. As we look toward a fight between two of our sports Goliaths,
Me
we
and
also
Everly
witnessed
Chris.
several stories highlighting the sport's past and future. Most notable is the final race for one of the sport's greatest ever, Darrell Waltrip. And he's
Yeah,
got
I'm
a
glad we
special
were able to
ride
get
boot.
the
In
Night
addition to
Atlanta.
sponsoring their
I'm glad I was able to
driver,
get the
Casey Elliott tonight,
Night Atlanta figured
Mountain Dew
out.
returns to DW's team for a final ride throwback to his 1982 championship season. With 71 career wins, the 4th most in Winston Cup history, Darrell Waltrip leaves behind a legacy as he moves into broadcasting. At the same time, we see the final race for SS Motorsports as we know it, with Terry Schoonover's final full-time race coming at his home track.
We truly
As we
have
say
Sunday Night
farewell,
Lights.
We look toward the future with our top 2 in the Busch Series, Blaze Alexander and Kelly Williams, each making another start today ahead of
I'm an
likely
agent of
rookie
chaos.
campaigns in 2001. Patty Moyes and Dale Earnhardt led the field to the green flag to begin the Napa 500.
He said it. He said the thing. Yes, the thing. Roll credits.
Dale Earnhardt would lead the opening laps of the race, while Rusty Wallace and Shauna Robinson, who started 5th and 6th, worked their way to 2nd and 3rd. Eventually, Rusty Wallace would take the lead from Earnhardt, then Shauna Robinson would lead for a bit, as both drivers were able to grab 5 bonus points for leading a lap. After the first set of pit stops, Rusty Wallace took over the lead, while Kyle Petty and Shauna Robinson were not too far behind. Shauna
Looks at
would
camera
need
and
to get a
smiles.
run if she wants to win her second championship. The next set of pit stops happened around lap 61 of the 115-lap race, with Rusty Wallace kicking things off. Then, on lap 66, we had our lone caution of the race when Bobby Hamilton ran into Jeremy Mayfield coming off pit road together, causing Hamilton to slide up the track into Jeff Gordon, who slams into the 10. Matt Kenseth and Rob Moroso were also involved, and this wreck would take out all of Hendrick Motorsports as well. After the restart, Wallace and Robinson would end up 1st and 3rd, almost the opposite of how they finished to open the season in Daytona. Shauna then caught Rusty and took the lead, but right as she did that, Rusty Wallace backed away, going down pit road to begin the final round of pit stops. It was as if Shauna wasn't able to react to it, and Rusty being a few steps ahead.
Like I said, I almost feel like the Rusty-Shauna rivalry
pulling away. However,
feels
Shauna
like Dale and
Robinson
Jeff in
wasn't
a way.
done yet. She
What
did
is
a
this, some
huge
kind of Sunday
surge
Night
on the
Lights?
outside to pass Bubba Nissen and Blaze Alexander with 10 laps to go. 3 laps remain in the season as Rusty Wallace leads, Alan Kawicki 2nd, and Shauna Robinson in 3rd. Shauna's going to need a miracle at this point if she wants to win the title. As long as that 2 is up there, her chances are very slim. 2 to go now. Look at Shauna Robinson. She zooms past the 7 of Alan Kawicki. She's really going to go for the win here. She's got a lot of speed, but can she chase down Rusty Wallace and even perhaps get in his way one more time to close out the season? Through turns 3 and 4, we're coming to the white flag, the final lap of the 2000 Winston Cup season. And here they come. Rusty Wallace leads them back to the line. Here comes Shauna Robinson to the inside. Robinson is going to steal this one as they come off turn 2. She's going to take the lead from Wallace, and she just had to get in Wallace's way one last time. Just like how the season started in Daytona, it's going to end the same way in Atlanta. Robinson won.
It's crazy that
Wallace
Shauna
2.
had to get in the way
Even
one
though
last
it's not
time,
gonna
you
be
know.
the championship, it'll be a good way to finish off the season.
It was a fun way to end the
Shauna
season.
Robinson wins in Atlanta, and Rusty Wallace is your NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion for 2000. The drive for 5 is complete.
I feel like Rusty could win 7. I feel like he could get to 7. I know y'all probably don't want to hear that, but I feel like he could get to 7.
Potentially be in the mix for 6, or even go for a 7th championship. While Robinson came up close, she said after the race, quote, "I did everything I had to do, but Rusty hit his marks like he always does. I just didn't have the luck on my side today. But I had to get
Also, it's
lucky
been cool
even
in
when
Fork in the Road to
footing.
see
It was good to
them
be
putting
in the race one
Shauna
more
Robinson in
time.
a
I'll be
Penske
wanting to
car. That was
congratulate
pretty
him
cool.
on stage, though,
It's kind of
because
ironic,
he
too,
owns the
since,
cup.
you know,
he may be the best
she's been
driver,
battling
but
a
we've
guy
got the
driving for
best team.
Penske, but
We'll run him down again next year and see what happens. And here's the final top 5 in standings as Rusty Wallace wins the championship over Shauna Robinson by 27 points. The full list of winners and the full standings will be shown after the international exhibition. With the championship dust settled, we close out the 2000 season.
We're now
with the
going to
international
Brazil.
exhibition in Brazil. 26 entrants will race across Fittipaldi Speedway at Autodromo PK outside Rio de Janeiro. Our field is made up of the top 15 in Winston Cup points, along with 6 other invitees from NASCAR and 5 South American drivers. 3 of our feeder series champions are in the field. Busch Series champion Blaze Alexander in his 02 for Penske, Truck Series champion Chris Trickle in a one-off third AK Racing car, and Super Sportsman champ JD Gibbs will drive his father's number 17 in his unofficial Cup debut. Also in the field are last year's Busch champ Tony Stewart, Kelly Williams, and the upset special
South
Juan
American
Felix,
mentioned Argentina
his first
here.
Cup race.
Oh,
at
heck
Imola.
yeah.
As for our guest drivers, the biggest story stems from Team Penske, who dominated the American motorsports scene in 2000. In celebration of their kart championship, they're going all out with a 5th and 6th car as one-offs today for a pair of Brazilian drivers. Kart champion Gil de Ferran will drive the number 01, while Helio Castroneves will run the 03. Additionally, Brazil's stock car champion Chico Serra will drive the Hendrick 46. The Indy 500 champion Juan Pablo Montoya, a native of Colombia, will drive for Chip Ganassi, with this being his first Winston Cup race as the new owner of SS Motorsports. He will drive an unbranded Chevy car for the number 85 team. And last but not least is the home country hero. Formula One legend Ayrton Senna will be entered in a 3rd car for DEI, the number 19 compact Chevrolet. A season unlike any other for NASCAR wraps up with a race unlike any other. And it comes at a time where the sport's outreach to the globe is growing faster than ever. And standing at the corner of it are 2 of Open Wheel's greatest teams, a dominant Team Penske and a newcomer in Chip Ganassi, ready to build for his grand entrance next season. Shauna Robinson and Sterling Marlin led
And
the
honestly,
field to
this
the
was-
green flag
this
in
was a
front
fun
of
track.
sold-out crowd in
The racing
Rio
was
de Janeiro.
definitely entertaining.
It was an exciting start as there was a 3-wide battle for second on the opening lap. Then Kyle Petty surged on the outside to take the lead, but got loose off turn 4, and Jeff Gordon zoomed past for the lead. Then, just a couple laps later, Patty Moyes would take the lead from Gordon. The first caution came out on lap 20 for debris, as most of the leaders would pit. I say most because Matt Kenseth took over the lead, with Helio Castroneves second, Sterling Marlin third, and Wallace fourth.
Give us more funky
Kenseth
oval
suddenly
shapes.
had an issue
Yes.
as Marlin pulled away. But in the back, there was a stack-up between Blaze Alexander, Kelly Earnhardt, Senna, and Kyle Petty.
Beep beep.
Sterling Marlin went to pit, handing the lead to Jeff Green as he leads Paige Jones and Chris Trickle back to the green flag. Paige Jones immediately
Give us a
took the
Pentagon
lead,
track.
but Chris Trickle
Oh,
was the
God.
one to lead coming back to the line. Trickle is really impressive here today. Then, one lap later, Ernie Irvan took control of the lead. Just past halfway, Shauna Robinson ran into Gil de Ferran as he was coming off pit road to bring out another caution. Irvan still led at the restart, but quickly lost the lead to Jeff Green. Green now had control, but had to hold off all 3 AK Racing cars in the race. Then, with 14 to go, we had major drama as the lead pack of cars got held up by the lap car of Ayrton
Yeah,
Senna.
I was kind of
Then,
bummed Ayrton-
Going into turn 3,
Okay.
Jeff Green had to check up, causing Ernie Irvan
just
to slam
reminded
into
me.
Green and collecting Alan
Hey, Jet,
Kowicki
should I
in
tell him about
process.
the first take
However, Kyle
I did of
Petty
this
and
race
Chris
and who
Trickle
won?
were able to escape as
I don't remember if I
Trickle
ever
took the
talked
lead
about it
coming
before.
back to the caution. After pit stops, Rob Moroso took the lead with Paige Jones in second as the race restarted
I
with
wish I were
9
kidding about
laps
the other
to
half.
go.
Oh, jeez.
Moroso was not able to get past
Well,
the
especially
last
if,
cars,
like,
giving the lead
I would
to
assume
Paige
it's like
Jones.
Brazilian
He,
driver won because of,
Robinson,
like,
Trickle,
there's kind of a
and
rivalry
Kelly
there.
Williams were able to break away. As that went on, Alan Kowicki turned the 22 of Sterling Marlin, sending Marlin spinning to give us a late restart. We then had a 3-lap dash to the finish as coming to the restart, Paige Jones had problems. He ran out of gas and wasn't able to get
Imagine
back going
jokes about
and
hitting.
loses out on a chance to win. Kyle Petty, who didn't have a hood, now has the lead as he led JD Gibbs,
Where
Shauna
can I get that
Robinson,
track? It
and
looks
Chris
fun.
Trickle back to the green flag. Coming back
I'm
around,
assuming it's like
Chris
that.
Trickle was
I'm trying to
on
figure
the
out where I
move.
got it. I'm pretty
Going
sure
into turn
it
one
might be
with
on
2
that
to go,
just
he
that
takes
one
the lead,
Weebly site
looking
that
to
has all the
stun
tracks on it.
racing world. Chris Trickle then led the field to the white flag, but here comes Rob Moroso from out of nowhere. The outside line has been the preferred line all race long as he soars past the 42 and coming into turn 3.
I will
he
say,
was side by
I
side
did
with
mention
Chris
this on a
Trickle.
previous stream because I was trying to remember.
Rob Moroso powered past
So,
him to take home the win
the
in
original
Rio.
take of this
What a
race,
race
I
and
will
what
say,
a finish.
Ayrton Senna actually
And
won the
finally,
original take,
here are
but
the winners
the
in
race
final
was
standings from the
a-
2000
just a
NASCAR
disaster.
Winston
Like, it was
Cup
so
Series
bad.
Season.
Um,
Rusty Wallace finished the season with 7
So,
wins.
I
Shauna
turned the
Robinson
difficulty
had
down,
6, Jeff
and
Green
it
had
was a lot
4,
better.
and Alan
Sometimes you
Kulwicki,
gotta adjust that
Kyle
kind of
Petty,
stuff,
and
so-
Jeff Gordon, as well as Sterling
So we were
Marlin,
just like, okay, we
had
got to
3.
redo this kind of thing.
And as you look at your
Yeah, I
final
think it's called
standings,
Real Oval on
it's
the
definitely
Weebly
become
site.
more of a competitive field. As
It's a-
you take
it's a cool-
look
it's a
there,
fun, cool
a
track,
lot of
though.
drivers are going to be hungry to improve going into 2001. Rusty Wallace is a new kind of star to the sport. He started on the USAC and ASA circuits,
Excuse me.
moving from a star of the Midwest to becoming NASCAR's most dominant driver. And perhaps it's fitting that a new kind of NASCAR star has dominated with a new kind of team. Roger Penske has shown that NASCAR's success isn't just for the traditional
SNL blooper reel
Southeastern
win.
owner. Instead, NASCAR can be part of a diverse motorsports empire. At the 2000 Winston Cup Awards banquet, Rusty spoke highly of his team and his competitors, saying, quote, "What does greatness truly mean? A 5th Winston Cup undoubtedly shows driving talent, but it doesn't say enough about the impact I try to leave for this team and the impact it's
I think it's
left
fun
on
coming
me.
up with these, like,
Roger and
what
every
these drivers
single
would have
person
said
he
in these
employs,
situations,
including
'cause
myself, are part
I
of
just think
one
it's fun to do stuff
organization
like that and just kind of
dreams
add on
of
to it.
becoming legendary.
Add on to the
Shauna
story and the
Robinson
lore and
and
stuff like
Felix
that.
Sabates are the same way. So are Ernie Irvan and Alan Kulwicki. It takes a whole team to get a driver to legendary status. You all can call me a legendary driver, but I'm more honored to be on this legendary team. It's our 4th cup together, and I know we can win a couple more, and a win at Daytona somewhere along the way. Can he catch Richard Petty's 7 championships? After all, Rusty looks set to win even in his 40s, and he's won just about everything there is to win in this sport. Except for one thing. After falling just short to Shauna Robinson this season, Rusty Wallace still has yet to win the Daytona 500. He may be beating Shauna Robinson in the title fight, but his fellow Midwesterner has taken 2 wins at the Great American Race. Perhaps, after his own several years of trying and several years of frustration, Rusty is due to finally cash in on NASCAR's biggest race. It's quite ironic, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
And that's a wrap on 2000, the first chapter in the book of a new decade, with the introduction of new tracks and a deep cup rookie class.
That'd be
New
hilarious if
Millennium
it actually
is the
took him
start
20 years of
a
trying
new
to.
era. Yet at the same time, we're still wrapping that many would say is NASCAR's golden age. Darrell Waltrip just wrapped up his historic career, and we're slowly approaching the end of several.
Yeah,
historic
I kind of feel like
careers,
Rusty's had the
including
career
those
Dale's
of
had.
Dale
Yeah,
Earnhardt,
Dale still had a
Alan
great
Kulwicki.
has had a great
Rusty
career.
Wallace
Don't
continues
misunderstand,
his
but
pursuit of
yeah.
becoming NASCAR's greatest ever. And Shauna Robinson has made herself a
That's
fellow
what you do. That's
Midwestern
what happens when you do
superstar
an alternate
and
timeline like
Rusty's
this.
biggest rival. Yet at the same time, new names are emerging quickly. Some of them have won in the Winston Cup, and others have first career wins that are sure to come soon. All of that, combined with the return of Dodge and team shakeups that will come with it, will bring the sport into a new age in its own right. The Sunday Night Lights story began in 1981. We've rewritten 20 years of racing history, and we're still a quarter century away from the present day. Both in this series and real life, NASCAR has spent its entire history evolving. Despite being a sport known for its tradition, it's always beat to its own drum and isn't afraid to be different from other motorsports. It's a sport built on the backs of rebellion against the norm, and perhaps being a sport unlike anything seen before is what the world needed at the sport's peak, and what it also needs now. The year 2000 was a key year for the world, the gateway to a future full of change and opportunity. Where will NASCAR and the world at large go from here? As is tradition, all of the original paint schemes made for the season will be released on Stunod and Armory Digital soon.
Oh yeah, SNL
There are
2000
also going to
predicted
be
the
plenty
Pacers
of
going to the
paint
finals
schemes
this year.
available for download
I
as
just
well,
realized.
including some that
Oh,
were
we were
not
one game
seen
short.
in this video. Furthermore, you'll also be able to download the
I had to-
all-new stock
I had
GT
to say
templates
that.
and Super Sportsman templates created by RoseJam. The Super Sportsman compact templates for Cup 98 have been out there for a few months without the series branding, while the MCLM Euro templates for the stock GT are all new. Thank you so much again to them for their work bringing those series into a new era. We recently released a 2000 update to Louisiana Motor Speedway, and right after this premiere ends, we'll be releasing SoCal Speedrome, the brand new track you just saw, and an updated version of Talladega Motorsports Park. I can't wait to see you all use
Like
it
I
in
said,
action.
I'm
And
really
thank
glad
you
I
again
figured out how to get the
RoseJam
wall
for their work
logos to
building
work
the tracks
finally.
and Jets Racing
I don't know
Designs
why it
for
took
the
me so long, but
creation
I'm
of the
really
track's
glad I
graphics.
figured that out.
I'm also excited to share that we're kicking off summer with a new drop on my merch store inspired by the 2000 season. We have 3 new designs
And
available.
those are still up on
2000
the
tour
merch
design
website as well,
inspired
by the way.
the season at large, the Racing History Rewritten design commemorating 20 seasons of Sunday Night Lights featuring all 20 champions, and Ringham, a design commemorating Rusty Wallace's 5th title. All proceeds from merchandise help me bring forward my vision of celebrating why we love racing, so any and all support is an honor. And with that, we are 20 seasons in. This project started 5 years ago, and it's been incredible to see the sport evolve, often for the better in that time, both in 20 fictional years and 5 real years. Sports evolve, much like the world evolves. When the year 2000 arrived, I bet no one expected we'd see another 7-time champion, or street circuit, or 2 different seasons with a record 19 winners. Just like they didn't expect the internet and other new technologies to bring the world together and inspire new creators through websites like the one you're using right now. Where will the 21st century take NASCAR? We saw the first quarter of it happen before our eyes. Now, let's see where it takes a whole different NASCAR in Sunday Night Lights.
Really happy with how this season really came together. And, I'm really excited about 2001 because I feel like that season alone is also a big deal. So, I'm ready to see what 2001 is going to look like. So, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, Stock GT's done. I think that season turned out pretty well, so I'm looking forward to showing you guys that. Yep, roll credits, Ding. Imagine a Ringham shirt for Jimmy Johnson in 2010. Right? Gotta say, I love creating all this, and I'm glad you all enjoy it. And I'm going to keep doing it, so there's definitely going to be more to come.
To put this program on solid ground. And at this time, I'm not going to make you wait any longer. I'd like to introduce you to the first driver of Evernham Motorsports.
And like I said, we're shooting for September to release that, but I'll give you guys a more concrete date when I get closer to when I get into making the video and all that. So yeah, thank you all seriously for tuning in. I know this was a little bit of a longer stream. Man, we almost hit 3 hours. So yeah, seriously, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys had fun. And like I said, I think what's fun is just watching the sport grow in this timeline. Kind of makes me think of what things the sport's trying to do now. Going to new places and trying different things, and seeing all kinds of different drivers that are coming through. So imagine this gets released the 21st night of September. Do you remember? Anyway, yeah, that would be comical. So, yeah, like I said, production's in full swing. We got the Stock GT season done. We'll get started on Super Sportsman. We got one more Racing Infinity video before 2001. So, like I said, it's gonna be part 2 of a video that was really popular. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and all that good stuff. So let me know if you guys have any last minute suggestions, comments, whatever it may be. Hope you all enjoy the Cup race tomorrow at Watkins Glen. Can't believe we're getting close to playoff time already. But yeah, I think 2001's coming together pretty well, and I'm really excited to see what's all going to happen. Because as I put all this together and I sit there, I'm like, man, I can't wait for the viewers to react to this moment, or like I can't wait to see what the viewers think of this, And I try to picture it in my head, like I want them to get make them feel something like oh my god, this driver won, or something like. Or oh wow, this change happened, or oh this track's coming in, So it's fun to think about that kind of stuff and all that. So that's what's fun about it, and just creating all these different stories and creating, this whole new alternate universe of NASCAR racing that we've never seen before. There are tracks who never made it who are making it now. There are tracks that never got a chance now but didn't back then, and just seeing all the different kind of cases of drivers like Alan Kowicki and Davey Allison and stuff like that, and seeing who's going to become the top legends of the sport, and who's going to be the next generation of superstars. Who's going to represent the Cup Series for probably the next at least 15 seasons, right? So some of those young guys are still coming in. So that's what's fun about it all, and it's just an ongoing, continuing thing. So there's a lot of stories going into 2001 that I'm really excited about, and I'm really excited to showcase and see how everything nets out with Dodge and everything else. So. Like I said, 2001 was a big year, especially in real life, for, some of the right reasons, some of the wrong reasons. You all know what they are, but, I'm ready to see how great 2001 can be in Sunday Night Lights. And, like I said, I always think to myself, how can I make this season bigger than the last? I've said that, how can I make 97 bigger than 96? How can I make 98 bigger than 97? So on and so forth. So I think that's what motivates me in a way, is like I want to make this season bigger than the last, and I just want to keep it going, and again, you just play out the races and see what happens, right? We've had cases where Rusty Wallace has kicked everyone's ass, Even stuff like that happened in real life. I mean, Jeff Gordon did that, around that same time frame. So, that's just stuff to think about. So, I'm really excited about the 2000s and what the decade will look like for this timeline, because I think it's gonna be really cool. And I'm ready to show that to y'all. So I think it's gonna be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, if you guys don't have any more comments or suggestions or anything, I'll go ahead and wrap things up. Like I said, I've had quite the lengthy day myself, but obviously I'm glad Connor Zilisch is okay. He came out, CT scans were good. He has a broken collarbone, and the 87 got withdrawn for the Cup race tomorrow. But glad he's okay. That's the important part. I want him to be okay. So. Yeah. So hopefully, the good thing is Xfinity's off next week. Hopefully he can he can heal up some more and try and go for the Xfinity Championship. So that is a talented young man. I gotta say that right now. So, buenos noches to you two. But yeah, you guys have a great night. Again, thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate your all support. Thank you so much. As always, I feel blessed and thankful that you guys enjoy this, and I'm gonna keep doing it. So we're gonna keep the train going. So stay tuned for more updates regarding the next Racing Infinity and of course 2001 and all that good jazz. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and have yourself a wonderful rest of your night, wonderful weekend, and wonderful week ahead. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and be good to one another. So thanks, guys. Have a good night.